Hello, how are you, Miss Megan?
I'm doing well, Tammy. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for
Good.
inviting me. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. So, how has your day been so far?
Busy,
Yeah.
busy. Yep. Had to take the boys to they play t-ball and coach pitch. So they
Oh,
had I had to get them to the field today and then mom met me. So um
nice.
yeah,
It's
but I
spring break, right? For y'all?
yep, spring break and one of them's sick. He's been sick this week. I'm like, well, good time for you to be sick. You won't miss school next week, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
He's had
I
some
feel
kind
like
of
they always do
stomach
like that.
thing.
Yeah. I
Uh,
feel like it works like that whenever it's like supposed to be like a break or a holiday, right? Like we
it
were supposed
always
to have that in the first 2 days were like random, like unexpected testing of different
yeah,
stuff. And so
yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I didn't mind the first day, but like they were like, well, let's go ahead, extend it into 2 days. And I'm like, all right, well, let's go
Sure, why
ahead.
not? Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
why
And
not?
then that tried for a third day and I was like, I think I'm just gonna have to say no. I was like, it's spring break and I don't
Yeah,
really want to tell him that he has to do any more tests because I don't want to do
right,
any more tests.
right.
So no, thank
It's kinda
you.
crazy.
Right.
Hi,
But
Miss
hello,
Eve.
Eve.
Welcome,
And
welcome.
yes, welcome. My internet's a little bit patchy as always, it comes and goes.
Yep, that's
So
okay.
I
Yep,
will, yeah, we'll do the best that I can with it. But again, thank y'all for joining us as y'all come in. We greatly appreciate it.
we do,
And
we
then
do.
tonight we're going to be kind of looking at Sebastian's some more, kind of interviews and discussions on Sebastian Rogers. So on this one it's going to be on Peter Hyatt's channel. So I wanted to do Peter Hyatt just because I feel like he was very like outspoken and as especially interviews went on about how he felt about Sebastian alone and just kind of the stance of Chris himself. So I just thought it would be interesting to kind of look at it. Now in this one he is doing an interview with someone. Her name is Lauren. Let me see if I can pull up her last name. But she also was on the Nancy Grace interview, the
Okay.
first one that we watched.
Just got your notification. Yeah, I don't think did it put out a 30-minute notification,
Probably not.
Megan, or no? Probably not,
Probably
yeah.
not because I had originally set up the link for like I think it was like 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. So I think after
Yeah,
like 48 hours or something, it doesn't so much. But I'm honestly not too sure how that
yeah.
works. So, but I know it does run a little bit differently
I know
whenever you had
sometimes
it.
some people I've been listening in other lives and people are saying, "I'm not getting a notification," and I think it's some of that's YouTube too.
Yeah, I've noticed too, or like I've been to go to someone's page and I am no longer like subscribed or something. And I thought that was weird because people always
Yeah,
tell me like, oh, I get unsubscribed. And I was like, I never noticed that happen. And I've noticed now lately, like, yeah, I get unsubscribed from somebody or like it'll say like in the notification box, I got the notification, but it didn't come to my phone. So I don't know. Maybe it's
yeah.
like a glitch that they're working on or something like that.
I've
But
heard a lot of people complaining about YouTube, and for me, I'm not monetized, and I thought it was just me struggling to get in the outer rhythm or whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
And I still don't think I'll ever get out there. I mean, I don't. I mean, it's been a while, so I don't have any confidence of it getting out there anytime soon. But
yeah. I don't think it matters. I've been on here since like 2018, and I really don't think the rhythm seems to matter much for me either.
that's yeah, yeah,
Maybe it's more of like a subject matter or like what people want to talk about or hear
yeah,
about. I don't really know.
yeah.
But
And I
yeah.
can't be on here every day. You know, some people are on every day, and I can't. I just don't have. I
No.
mean, I could be on here every day, but it would have to be during my time that I sleep. And
Yeah. I know
yeah,
most of the time it's late at night now, and that's what I was
yeah,
telling, somebody earlier. I was like, I love to come on here and do them, but it's funny because I go through phases where I can stay up really late and my body can like totally go with that flow of being up late, and there's other times where it's like I need to go to bed early again.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I go back and forth through those
Mhm. Yep.
pretty like fast.
Yep. Yep.
So, but yeah, so I thought it'd be interesting to look at this interview. And then I know we were talking about some Watt stuff too that we were going to talk
Mhm.
about in the future. And
Yep.
you were talking about the autopsy of
Yeah.
Shenanigans that you had found some, and I can't
Yeah.
remember who you said sent that to you.
Running Gray Wolf sent that to me,
Okay, so
and
Running
it's
Gray Wolf.
about 25 minutes long, I think. and it doesn't actually show the report. It just tells you about it. It during the video, it shows pictures of Shanann and the girls. I think it shows a couple of Chris, but it doesn't actually show the autopsy report. Like the pages of it and stuff. I
Right.
want to try to go and through Miss Kim's stuff and see. I bet she did do one where it shows the actual,
Report.
yeah, report. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that
Well,
is
that'd be
it's
interesting.
very interesting, very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see it. So,
And you
but
found
I'm.
one that I want to show too. I'm very
Is
interested
that
in
still
that one.
the phone ping one? The phone ping one? Yeah.
Yes.
I did
Yeah.
enjoy that. Like I said, again, I like the visual stuff of it. So I thought that
Yeah.
was neat how they showed the phone connecting all around the neighborhood of the
Yeah.
Watts house that morning.
Yeah.
And how they also brought up that it wasn't doing that days and even possibly weeks before.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was a great one to bring
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. We're gonna go over that one too. That
So,
one's good.
and I've been binging on that one channel that you told us about.
Oh, the Park,
Yeah, like
Parker
I've
Parker
been.
Parker Edmondson, I think is his name. He's the
Yeah, like
guy
it
that
was
lives.
Dr. Parker Edmondson or something,
Yeah.
but like I don't know, that's been great. I really enjoyed watching that, like
Yeah.
watching him cook like on the old like stoves from the 1900s or whatever. I like watching all that stuff.
Yes. He's really cool because he lives the part. He
Yeah, well, and then you see him go into his family's house, and their house isn't like that.
no.
So it's like you can very much tell like it's by choice, and he super enjoys it or really
Yeah.
enjoys it. So I
It's like
like
a
that.
time warp is what it is,
Yeah,
because his
yeah, and
grandma's house
then
isn't like that.
yeah, and his dad was making him something and he was helping him build something, but you could tell like, his dad was just doing it for him. And so he was just like, "Oh, come on, dad." And he was just doing all this random shit around him, but you could tell like his dad was just like whatever. Like tunes it
Yeah.
out, but just does
Yeah.
whatever he asked him to do. Like it
Yeah.
was really fun. Like it was
Yeah.
fun to watch.
It's a real fun video. It kinda lets you just kinda relax
Yeah.
and
It's like
just kinda
wholesome.
just yeah, I like it. I thought he was really cool. That's why I shared him with y'all.
That
You don't
mindless TV.
expect him to talk that way either, because
No.
he's got such uh, a quiet,
Yeah.
unassuming, loud. He's got a really quiet voice, so
Yeah.
he's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting and like
Yeah.
pleasant to watch just because you can get into it and like you don't have to think about nothing and
Right.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. We'll have to like put the link in there again or
Yeah.
something for people who haven't. But he's got a good channel going on though.
Yeah. The
Got
one
a
I
lot of
watched the
people.
other day, he was putting was it sodium chloride and water in his battery.
I saw that. I was like, I didn't even know you could put stuff
I
inside of
didn't either.
batteries.
I didn't either.
I know. I was watching that. I was like, oh no. I was like, so many people are. Like, you probably should put a huge warning on that. Could you imagine how
Yeah.
many people are going to be
Yeah.
putting water and all that stuff inside of their batteries?
Yeah. To make it work. Yeah.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was neat though.
It was. Yeah.
So, but I guess I'll go ahead and pull this up on the other screen.
All right.
If it starts to like glitch too much, which it looks like it already kind of is glitching, just regardless. Like I said, we'll go ahead and turn off the cameras, kind of like we
Okay.
discussed. But this is more again, as people come in, this is just kind of the interview of Peter Hyatt with, I believe her name is Lauren. I don't know what her last name is, so I'm
Okay.
sure he'll kind of introduce her as it comes on, or they
Okay.
come on. Let me go
Hello,
ahead and
Renee
pull it
Grey
up.
Wolf. Welcome, sweet
Hello.
lady.
How are you doing? So it says, who called police to report Sebastian Rogers? Which has been one of the biggest questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who and why is
Yep.
people who called, the person who called. So I'm going to pull this up. And have you seen this one yet, Tammy?
I may have, but it probably has been a while if I have.
Right.
We'll see if I have.
Yeah, I think this is pretty early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since it's kind of running slow, I'm trying to give it, because I think all of his, I'm pretty sure most of his things were all live. So that's why you see
Yeah.
it talk.
And they're still
not
up,
coming.
correct?
Yeah, everything's still up on his channel. So everything you
Yeah.
can pretty much go to, look through it. You can read the comments still. And it's interesting because you go to people's pages now too, who like, just like the bigger, like the let's say bigger pages, but just pages in general who follow Sebastian's case and have been for a long time. Like you'll see people who are in those comments who you see now, like still in the comments. So there's the same people who are following
Yeah.
his case 2 years ago that you see in his comments. So I think that's really nice
Yeah.
and sweet, you know, that
Yeah.
it's the same
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But say
That was hard for me to
hello.
believe that he had passed away.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think a lot
believe
of
it at first.
Yeah, I think a lot of people didn't at first. And again, when he did, I'm pretty sure that's right when I started the Madeline McCann thing, which I think was like February or something of last year, something like around that time. So, but that's when he passed away. I don't really know of what I want to say, probably like a cancer. I'm not really sure though,
Yeah.
honestly, what it was. Um, I never really found out either, but
Yeah.
this is the interview though between them. Before I start it, did you have anything that you wanted to kind of say before we start this interview
No.
between
No.
them? Okay.
No.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the camera just because
Hi,
it's glitching a
Ronnie.
bit.
I
And
can
then
do
hi
that too.
Ronnie,
See if
welcome.
that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. And
See
then
if
we'll kind of just pop in.
Okay.
All right.
See if that helps. Maybe
Okay.
not glitch so much.
Right. Okay. Here we go.
Hi, welcome to this broadcast. We've been covering the case of missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. And joining me today is with Lauren Conlon. Have Lauren introduce herself.
Hi, thanks, Peter. So I'm Lauren Conlon. I've been covering the Sebastian Rogers case on my podcast, The Outlier, as well as another podcast I host, Corruption, What Happened to Grant Solomon, as Grant Solomon passed away in the same county that Sebastian did, Sumner County. So I joined Nancy Grace twice to discuss my findings on this case, and it's really been bugging me for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, you know, I'm with everybody else here in the sense that something is just not right. So, Peter, I will let you take it away.
Okay, I think that people, their emotional response to the case is not simply because there's a 15-year-old boy missing and then add that to someone with special needs who's more vulnerable. But I think, and I said this previously, that the promotion of the case in terms of getting people to know Sebastian's name and face, I give the stepfather credit in a strange way, because he is so provocative and he makes people so angry that they tune in. And
Right.
so I'd like to separate some of the thoughts there, and I have some notes up on the screen that I wanted to cover.
Okay.
So basically, this is going to be about who called the police to report Sebastian Rogers missing.
Mm.
And this is something very important to consider. And hopefully we'll be able to take some of your questions there. It's a little tricky at times, but recap. And this is strictly my perspective based on the language. I'm not always right. And there are a lot of other ideas and theories that I like to hear. I think any analysis should have the holes punched in it as best they can. Years ago, I worked on specifically identifying the language of active addiction. And this was predominantly for employment analysis, but useful, obviously, in criminal analysis. And just as I was ready to present this and take it, you know, basically around the country, and hopefully have psychologists, social workers, law enforcement, others punch as many holes in it as they can, because what would remain would be great.
Yeah.
But we need that type of disagreement. We need it to other viewpoints. And with COVID, a lot of departments shut down. They were no longer doing things in person. Since then, I've been able to get more and more feedback on it, and it's made the teaching on it stronger. So it's always good to have those different of opinion.
Right, absolutely.
So here's my initial thoughts on the interview. 15-year-old boy with special needs is reported missing. Okay. The special needs, with my background in child protective, for example, the years I did with that, and then later on the criminal, is a red flag. Just right off the bat, special needs difficult household. What we then look for is what kind of support, what kind of relationships does he have, that sort of thing. Then you add in stepfather, and that increases the odds of a very difficult situation in which a child is missing.
Right.
Just basic data.
Right.
Then, for the first week, mother and stepfather, and mother who was home when he went missing, did not speak to media. And in talking to, over the years, to different mothers, and also in doing any of these cases, it basically comes down to, you can't stop a mother from calling out to her missing child. The only exception I've seen with that over the years, very sad exceptions, is when police have revealed to the mother and father blood evidence that the child is no longer alive. And she has a terrible resistance to that can last years, whereas a father will begin to accept it.
Well, may I ask you this then? Do you think, and sorry to interrupt you, Chris Proudfoot has said a few times, when the truth comes out, do you think there's a chance that they were told something that perhaps Seth Rogers wasn't told?
No, because, and the reason I say no so plainly on that one is because if you're hiding a secret like that, it's really difficult to get by with the language without indicating missing information. More than 90% of deception comes from withheld information, critically withheld. And what that means very specifically is I'm thinking about something and I'm thinking about not saying it to you. And so it becomes a pressure on me to avoid that, to avoid giving out that missing information. And so when you have something like that, first of all, the despair is going to be off the charts.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
They held their silence for a reason. There's always a reason. And it's been in so many missing child cases where there's guilt involved. So I'm on high alert for guilt. Oh no, is this another case where someone killed a child and hid the body? It's just, so many of them.
Right.
Then they spoke. I just stated my notes. I hope that's visible for everybody. In their initial interview, neither the mother nor stepfather linguistically indicated guilty knowledge of Sebastian being dead, nor did they indicate guilty knowledge of his location. This is what we call reliably reported information. Generally speaking, shorter sentences, firm commitment, past tense, for past tense events, past tense verbs, no need to persuade. There were certain things that are so elevated of guilt, having killed a child and concealed the body, that they can't help but keep talking and tripping over themselves. If this part that I'm saying is reliable, if this is incorrect information, then they're sociopathic.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just because as far as everything they've said so far, like, is there anything that stands out so far that they've said or haven't done that just kind of, sticks out to you that he's bringing up right now?
Well, when he keeps saying when the truth comes out, that's odd for me, because why would he keep saying that? Why would Chris Proudfoot keep saying that? I mean, that's like he's trying to say, I didn't do something. I'm innocent. Wait till y'all hear what really happened. But I think it's very odd that he keeps saying that. It's kind of like a misdirection thing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's where some people kind of weigh in, and they feel like maybe that KP had more to do with it, and maybe he wasn't there in theory, and then others think in theory maybe he still was because of the him commenting on the truck connecting and things like that to the house whenever it was before 6 a.m. and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think some of those things stand out, and that's kind of why he's bringing those things up. But yeah, a lot of people, he does bring up a lot when the truth comes out. So that's interesting that he seems to want to say that.
Yeah.
So, And then kind of just how much too how much they deflect in a lot of what they're saying
Mhm. Yeah.
from the kind of beginning, and they kind of try to stick to one storyline, it seems like, and then they
Right.
switch it up very
And they're
quickly.
very determined to stick in that. They're very, they're absolute in everything they say as far as, they're not saying that he passed away and they're not saying that he isn't. Or
Yeah.
they're not saying that they don't know where he's at. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're avoiding the answers by going around it with something else, in my opinion. But Ronnie has a
Yeah.
good thing there.
Yeah. So I have some of the chat popping up and some of it not. So I'm trying to keep track of it
Yeah.
somewhat on the. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that because it's been pretty much falling in sync. I don't know if it's just because it's glitchy, but
Yeah, maybe there's a new moon too. Who knows?
yeah. But
It's
who
in
knows what
Pisces
happened.
too. So there you go.
Very confusing as it is.
Yep.
Or like he will know what happened. Be surprised when we find it. Yeah.
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 And I think that's kind of what, like you were saying too, like he kind of hints a little bit more, even like, like when the first interview that they did, and that's one that we've already looked at. And Peter Hyatt also looks at the interview, and we can look at that later. He still very much, to me, looks out the corner of his eye at her, kind of like he is looking at her, like maybe she knows a little bit
Yeah.
more, or had a little bit more of a hand in it. But again, I still feel like in the overall treatment of Sebastian and the information they know, they're both pretty much on the same page with that.
Right. Right.
But you can see there's some difference.
Whether she's the one or he's the one, just for instance, if she is the one, he's still guilty because the CPS reports were there for a reason.
Right. And from what we understand so far, I think, in my opinion, I think most of them are kind of more or less saying that he was kind of saying that it was Chris that was more making him feel that way in the home setting, not saying that Katie wasn't a part of it. She was, because she was there and she knew everything that was happening. But to my knowledge, most of the reports are supposed to be against him.
Well, he made him call him Mr. Chris.
Right. And that's what I was saying in the other interviews that Peter Hyatt does, or the other analyses that he does. He talks about him and calls him Pridefoot instead of Proudfoot, because of how much he expects to be like respected, but he really doesn't give it out in return.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't deserve it, and he doesn't give it out in return. And he just like a whole lot of talk, kind of thing. Yep. So I just thought that was interesting, kind of what he was bringing up so far. Is there anything so far that they have brought up that we haven't brought up yet that you want to talk about before we go?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, he's kind of saying what we did, how she's not crying out, she's not reaching out, she's not, she's basically quiet.
Yeah. And those are things you would have expected from her, of course. And even him. He does say with Chris, you see it a little bit more, but it's not the way you expected. It's in that arrogant way. So, which is what, we've come to expect from him pretty much whenever, if he's not being arrogant, there's probably something wrong. Is how I would more or less feel.
I like how he said he's really bringing more attention to the case than not because of the way he's acting. So he's trying to take away from the case, but what he doesn't realize what he's doing is he's bringing more attention. And if he watched this interview, that's probably why they got quiet.
Yeah, I do think there was a lot of times when Peter Hyatt did his interviews with other people, or just looking at the interviews they've done, I do think there's times where they kind of, he tucked his tail and got a bit quiet, because this is someone who's a lot more professional. I've noticed that. Like, I saw some interviews more recently pop up now that I've been going through interviews again of them, and they're on channels that it's like, you have absolutely no idea who they are. So if you were in the sense of like, if you were truly trying to get out like a word about your child who's missing into like on a vast scale, right? Why do it on these tiny itty bitty channels? And some of them aren't even located in their area.
Right.
So, and it's not that it should be, but I'm just saying, like, there's no like vast or big media to it. And you would think that if your child's missing, you would do that. Especially, she makes a comment at the very beginning thinking that, possibly someone could have him or that he could be gone. Yeah. So I think for that comment to be said, you would think that they would have gone on bigger news channels, some of the bigger channels too, not just small channels, all of them, not just the small ones.
if your child's missing and Peter Hyatt wants to talk to you, that should be like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he's huge. Of course, I want to
And
talk to
all of his
him.
experience too. Like
Yeah,
all the experience he had, like with special needs individuals and,
yeah,
stuff like that. And just CPS alone. And Seth, went on there. He didn't say a whole lot from the interview that I remember, but he stayed quiet. He listened, he observed and things like that. He answered
yeah,
questions when he was asked, he did, to me what a parent should, but you never see the other two
yeah.
come in
Right.
here. And
Doing
I don't
anything.
think he would even wanted them at a certain point anymore.
Right. Right.
You
Hey,
know.
Dawn. Welcome. Welcome.
Andrew's right here.
Oh, sweet Andrew.
He goes, "Hey, I want to get some Lay's stacks from the store."
Oh,
Like, he loves his Lay's. He loves him some Lay's stacks.
hey, Pringles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He used to like Pringles, and then he got into Lay's stacks, and then Connor liked Pringles, but now they're both on a Lay's stack trip. So
that's all right. Does he like
that's their
not the
favorite.
baked ones? Probably he likes probably likes the other ones, doesn't he? I think they make the baked ones. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, just the ones in like the little blue plastic that looks like
Yeah,
Pringles. Yeah,
yeah.
so they look like they're baked, so they're probably baked. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I do not know why. So just as y'all come in, just to let you know, I can't see everybody in chat for some reason. I'm not really sure completely why not, but I just
Oh,
want to say hi to Michelle and hi Tara. I think I said hi to Chief, and let me see if there's anyone
I
else.
don't see Michelle, but I see Dawn
And
and
Claudia.
Eve and
Yeah.
Running Gray Wolf. That's who I
So
see.
Eve, yeah, and then little Miss Sharon, Claudia, Running Gray Wolf. But if I don't say anything right away, it's just the chat for some reason. It's not showing me everything. And then I see Dawn, yes.
Dawn
So
says the bacon cheddar are delicious. Ugh, I don't like bacon. She said bacon cheddar are good.
yeah, I like the cheddar and I like the sour cream and onion. And then the bacon. Oh yeah, the bacon. I haven't
Yeah.
tried that one.
And Miss Ronnie. I see Miss Ronnie too.
Because YouTube doesn't support comments. It says it's like a private video, but it shouldn't be private because I'm pretty sure this isn't private. So
What happened?
No, it just says like YouTube doesn't support comments on private videos, but it's like it's not to my knowledge.
It's not, no. If it was private, nobody would be in here.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
You.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's just like StreamYard for you. Like, I don't know. That's why I try to like stay within that 24-hour frame of when I create the link.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you never know.
You changed it on StreamYard and YouTube, right?
I don't know, actually. I might not have. That's a good point. I might have only done it on.
Check and see if you changed it on, because I've changed it on.
I don't even know. Can you do?
I've changed it on YouTube before and not StreamYard.
Oh, no, it says that I did.
Okay.
It says, but I don't know if. Yeah, ever since it's already started, I don't know if it would even matter or not. Well, I guess it would. But we'll go ahead and start playing this other part. I'm just going to check the comments real quick before I go into it.
I'll be in and out. I have to keep Bugs voting. Okay. Oh, voting for Bug. He's in first place. That's her little dog.
Oh. I was like, Bug. Okay.
Go, Bug.
So see if I can do that.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. So then people say, yeah, what about the empathy, the lack of empathy from stepfather, which we'll get to.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
So what I believe, and I don't know, but what I believe, and I'm open to other opinions, is that mother could pass a polygraph. Did you kill your child? Did you directly harm your child? Do you know where your child is? She could pass those things according to the language. I don't find her to be sociopathic. Generally, you see that later on.
Right.
She could pass the polygraph, but he had the need to deceive about the polygraph. He misled people into believing that he also passed the polygraph, and then that story changed.
Right.
Nancy Grace offered it, and I think he said at the time that he would take it. Is that correct?
He did. He said, name the time and place was his exact words.
That's the language of challenge. That's bring it on. Let's
yeah.
rumble.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's his personality.
But if you noticed on the show, he was very toned down with Nancy compared to all of his other interviews with other YouTubers, podcasters. He was very reserved. He was very, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And it was very different than what I think a lot of us have seen in his other interviews. And then I think when he came out and said that, name the time and the place, you're like, there he is. There he is.
Right.
I'm not going to say a-hole, but to me, I was like, that's what he's been missing this entire interview. But another question that I do have about this is when he supposedly did lie about this and say, oh, well, actually, I can't take the lie detector test or the polygraph, I'm sorry, because the TBI said I couldn't. Why is that? Why would they allow Katie to and Seth to, but not Chris?
Yeah, I think he's lying.
He's lying, yeah, because that makes no sense at all. Like, why would you be the only one that can't take it?
And what's interesting about the lie itself is that it's easily disproven.
Yeah.
You just
Dave Mack was on the phone though with the TBI the morning that we discussed this, and the TBI wouldn't tell Dave anything. Dave he works for Crime Online, so because they were trying to confirm that because that's what we discussed on the show. Well, why can't he take it all of a sudden? So Dave's like, let me call the TBI. I'll get it directly from them, and they wouldn't tell him anything.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the answer there. If they have open communications with Proudfoot, they're not going to want to sabotage that.
Right.
If there's no guilt behind this, there's no reason to lie. There's no reason to withhold information.
Exactly.
And there's no reason to be challenged. Paul had asked a question recently, and we decided to do it on an X post on it. And he was talking about the word case, and Paul's a deep thinker, and he was correctly identifying distancing language. And it's difficult to explain in X amount of characters, posting like that. But what he was looking at was a greater context of my 15-year-old stepson is missing. So if you say, hey, what about your CPS case? Now, I may respond to it and use that word case, but then what the expectation is, my priority is so severely front and center in my language. All I care about is Sebastian being found. It's like an overruling of whatever topic an interviewer was throwing at me, including the Child Protective Services. So that's where you get reflective language. The CPS case with my daughter has nothing to do with the Sebastian CPS case.
Right.
That sort of thing. You get the repetition, you get the easy reflective language, but then you wait for a second, and you have the expectation is back to Sebastian, back to why I'm here. This is an extraordinary context. A child is missing. A special needs child is missing. A special needs child has been missing for weeks. So it grows in magnitude. And that's not what we saw there. And then another thing that they reported reliably, which actually bothered me, was their insistence and consistency in he went out the door, and whatever wording they used about going out the door.
Walked out the door.
Yeah. How do you know? So they have a need to explain why they know without using the word why, and the door was locked. Okay. How do you know he wasn't coerced? How do you know he wasn't taken? And so then you listen more to their discussion, and you can see, even in the first video, this is coordinated language. This is obviously he's the dominant one. He wasn't there, and he's the dominant one. And she looked like the hostage there under his domination. By the way, that's what I think. I think he wasn't ready for Nancy Grace's forcefulness.
No,
absolutely not. Absolutely. And that's why he said he couldn't go on a second time. You know that the second time I was on, they originally asked Chris and Katie to come on. And of course, law enforcement says we can't. Sorry. What are you talking about? No, they didn't. They literally didn't say that at all. Seth jumped on right away.
What do you think about that, Tammy? The fact that he's like so scared to go on there and interact with Nancy Grace, but not scared in the least to seem to interact like on these smaller pages, because I feel like he's giving up a lot more of his personality and self on these smaller pages than just kind of going on Nancy Grace.
Well, Nancy Grace did not get him like she could have.
No, she didn't.
She was not. She didn't go in him at him, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like a bulldog. She could have really lit into him, but she didn't. And if that little bit she done scared him, he would have passed out if she'd have went at him like she normally does.
Yeah, and that had to be like a lawyer thing, right? Like my lawyers. I mean, I don't know what she could and couldn't be asked, but I feel like I've never seen her do that before. So like, why now? I was always curious about that. Yeah. And then you see her, like we talked about with Seth in that interview. And even though he's just completely like night and day to their behavior anyways, like you could tell she kind of felt, what was coming from him. And she was very sweet with him, and things like that.
Yeah.
But, like, what you would expect from an interviewer to a parent, when you're in that situation, you didn't get that with them.
Well, I think for me, hi, Appalachia Skies. Hello.
Yes,
for me, I think for me, just in my opinion, the reason he's like that with the smaller channels is he knows, one, they can't do anything, and two, they're not going to get out there to that many people. And Nancy Grace is huge, and you don't know who's listening that's not around, that's not in the chat, that she's not even mentioning. You don't know who's listening in to this interview and who may pick up on things or figure out things, because Nancy Grace is so big, she'll call and say, hey, you need to listen to this interview or something. But the smaller channels, they don't have that kind of clout, and they don't have nobody like that to call. So he's not worried about being heard or somebody eavesdropping in the background on what he might say or how he may act. So I think because it's such a big platform, hers was such a big platform, and he just didn't know who was listening and who wasn't.
Right.
With her caliber,
Yeah. I don't know. I think that I would still expect someone to try to interact, try to engage, try to seem concerned, try to do all that. But it just shows you to me, the feeling of overwhelm and kind of like guilt was so big that they couldn't even come out of that shell of that, and they would just completely shut down. Like that's how I feel.
They were afraid she was going to figure them out.
Yeah, and I think she knew she would. That's the thing. Like, I think that she knew if she wanted them, she could have had them easily. And so it's interesting that she didn't do it. It's interesting that, to know, I mean, at least to try to figure out why that happened. But I think if she would have pushed, like she would have pushed anybody else with simple questions, she could have had them very, that would have been it. So, yeah, it's just interesting how those things play out on kind of.
I was disappointed. I was expecting more from her.
Yeah, I was too, and
maybe
I wasn't very happy.
Had a reason. Maybe if she had a reason, but but I'm like I said before, I don't believe you should go in and rub Chris Watts' back till he. that wouldn't have been my.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, it's the tactic it seems, and it works for some. I mean, I don't know, but not the route that I would want to go or deal with too much. And I like that about Peter Hyde again. And I feel like this is the only case where I really ever see him kind of get scrappy. And I like that. You know what I mean? I like that, he never really kind of gets scrappy or he always gives his opinion, but never too much of when he started calling him Pridefoot, like Chris Pridefoot and all those kind of things. And, Mr. Chris Pridefoot, you can tell he's very much mocking him and his idiocracy and his stupid things that he says. And I kind of enjoy to watch someone like Peter Hyatt say all those things about him.
And he very much was strong in his opinion. I don't think he doubted what he thought about him. No.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think he did either. And that's the thing, like I was saying, with him, he never gave his opinion enough to where you could tell exactly if he
Mhm.
100% thought they did it. And that was one where I was like,
Mhm.
oh, he 100% thinks that he did it,
Yeah.
for sure. Like he had
Yeah.
something to do with it. And it was interesting too, because he never really said too much about Katie. He went in more on Chris.
Chris. Yeah.
I felt like, yeah. Um,
Mhm.
but I think it was just because, again, the arrogance, the interviews, the things that he says
Mhm.
about Sebastian. That's just, how could you even say something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so just tone deaf to everything around him and everything that's being said.
Yep.
So, but let me just make sure I'm going through both chats. So welcome everyone as y'all come in. My chat isn't working so great on the computer side, so I'm going through the phone and that. So if you see anything, Tammy, I missed, just let me know.
Okay.
And then just again, hi everyone. Thanks so much for being here. We greatly appreciate it. And we are going through Peter Hyatt's. Basically, it's like a interview that he's doing with Lauren. I don't remember what she said her last name was. It started with a C.
Okay.
But that's basically whose interviews we're checking out. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it again, and I'm gonna turn off my camera just so it doesn't glitch too
Yep.
much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally, never said that.
And he's fabricating reality. So I'm more concerned because that puts him in a level of deception that is dangerous. I
Right.
think-
And days before, he's on with Fox and Friends. So what? All of a sudden, 3 days later, they're like, nope, no more. No, he's scared crapless of Nancy. I'm sorry, he is. He doesn't like that she puts him on the
Exactly.
spot and that she's caught him in so many conflicting statements that she called
He
out on
likes
the
to
next
bully kids,
show.
not adults.
So he knows, in my
Right.
opinion, that he goes on there again, he starts talking out of his butt. Everyone's going to call this out because that's what's been going on for the last month and a half.
I don't think he has a real favorable disposition towards strong women.
I don't
You
either.
absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. You can tell
So it
with
makes you
Katie's
wonder about Kate.
timidness and her rocking back and forth
Yeah.
and her
That's
looking
why
for
he.
approval. And it's super
Yeah,
sad.
and I wonder about Katie with that because she comes off like she could be strong and she would be strong. But then at the same
Yeah.
point, you see him where he's not scared of strong women, or he is scared of strong women. So it's interesting to know how that, not given a relation to I guess.
Well, when you
But-
have your mommy helping you.
Right? You have your mommy telling you what a horrible person that woman you live at home with is.
Yeah. Yeah. You know. Yeah. You get
And
a
that
double dose.
kid.
Can you imagine having two Chris's around?
Yeah, right. I know. And she's the bigger one. she's even more Chris Proudfoot than Chris Pridefoot is, because that's where he got it from. So
And that's probably why, you know, how we talk about how he's a mommy's boy, probably because she's strong and he won't go up
Yeah.
against his mom.
Right. And I think that's kind of like we talk about Chris Watts. I think that the guys will tend to fall into those kind of patterns with women when they don't really have much of a backbone for themselves. They've never figured
Right.
themselves out.
Yep.
And so they kind of fall into that pattern, which he did, which I think Chris
Mhm.
Watts did. And so this is what you get out of it, I feel
Right.
like.
Yep.
So Lauren Conlon, that's what it is. Thank you, Woofy. It's Lauren Conlon. I know it started with the C. I just couldn't remember. But yeah, that's why I always joke, you know, he seems very confident in the way he speaks about himself, but you can always tell it's things that his mom has spoke up to
Yeah.
him and encouraged him and talked into him, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's not things that like he's genuinely earned or things that people who don't really know him have probably told him, you know.
Right.
This is things that his mother tells him.
Right.
So I
His
just always
mommy.
think that's interesting. Yeah, you know,
Mommy.
mama's boy.
Mhm.
So I just thought that would be interesting to throw in there.
Yep.
Super sad.
And I take that, that's a small context, him and small women. And Sebastian wasn't a small woman, but he was a young boy. And he may have mentally not been 15. And I know there's some differences regarding that.
Yeah.
And he was allegedly sexually abused. And I can say that because it's something that's out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Given the nature of resentment towards strong women, it may be a resentment of any type of perceived weakness And I think he may have ridiculed Sebastian's masculinity.
Oh, I'm
Same
sure.
vein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, again,
can
that's
see
how he
that.
felt
And
about his own.
you can
Yeah.
just, I mean, you get this sense.
I mean, I feel like it's always that. It's always a mirror. I think he had his own issues again with his masculinity, because the only place he got his masculinity fulfilled or even talked up again was from his own mother, which has to cause some kind of mental
Yeah.
insecurities or
Yeah.
instabilities or something. You know, I mean, if your mom is the
Mhm.
only one telling you how great you are and you're supposed to be a grown man, I would think that's got to fuck with your head a bit, maybe just
Yeah.
a bit.
And you've been married 5 times?
5 times, yeah. And this is your last wife this time, so don't get any
Yeah.
ideas later.
According to her.
This is his last wife. In case you were wondering and you wanted to marry Chris Proudfoot, don't get any ideas.
Well, if you end up wearing orange, it may be your last wife, but it may not be your last girlfriend.
And then, when people do things like that too, if he was making fun of him like that, it really does make you wonder about his own self, because people, again, will make fun of things that they're insecure with on themselves. So if he was
Right. Yeah.
insecure making fun of Sebastian in that way, then he was not secure in that way with himself.
Right.
So that's how I felt kind of about that too. But
I agree.
And we've discussed this offline, that Sebastian may have been a point of contention in their marriage. Sebastian, like you said, he's 15, he's autistic, he has special needs, and that requires a lot of attention. And these kids don't react the same way to certain things a regular 15-year-old would react. And so I think this goes back to Katie, let's say the night that Sebastian disappeared, being on the phone with her husband for hours. I mean,
weird alone.
that in itself was like, wait, what? I love my
Yeah.
husband dearly,
But not
when he
that
travels
much.
for work.
Right.
It's kind of like, hey, you good? A text, unless we're in the middle of a very serious argument, discussion,
Right.
something that needs to be, so it's just like, what? That can't be a normal occurrence where you're falling asleep on the phone with your husband who travels there. It's just, it's very strange, very strange.
Yeah.
So I speculated they were having an argument or discussion, possibly about Sebastian.
Well,
Or even just
I'll
neglect.
take that even a step
You know,
further.
even if it's
I
not an
agree with you.
argument, again, it's just a way of me showing that it's complete neglect if it's not an
Right.
argument,
Right.
So either way, it's like, again, they're not aware that to the normal person, this behavior is abnormal. No one's on the phone with their partner of numerous years, sitting on the phone for 3 hours straight.
No, right. Right.
So,
That's just
and I
odd in
think
it.
that they don't think about that at all. So,
And they had to explain it somehow, because it would have
here's
come out
why.
on the phone records.
yeah, they had to explain it.
Mhm.
But yeah, again, they kind of think that most people aren't going to think it's odd or think it's
Right.
off, but it is. People
Yeah,
don't
it
talk
is.
that long on the phone. Like I said, that I don't know the last time I talked to somebody that long.
Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right, 1 second. Let me play this.
It entered the language while the 15-year-old was missing. So when this is a whole new context. It's not, it's not common everyday occurrence.
Mhm.
It is in talking about the 15-year-old that's missing, who's vulnerable. I don't know how he's eating. I don't know how he's surviving. I don't know if he's warm. I saw the temperatures were cold. I don't know any of those things, which should be inflaming my maternal instinct.
Yep.
So when a conversation
Yeah.
enters a statement or an interview, it's
And
always important.
Nothing happens
In fact, I think it's the key
Right.
to this.
that ever activates her maternal instinct. At least that's how
Yep.
it feels.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel
Nothing.
that
No,
way to me.
she's done nothing.
Yeah, and then she said she was supposed to be. Yeah, she's done nothing. And then Tara kind of brought up too, not only did they say they were on the phone, but then didn't he say she started falling asleep on the phone? But then she was studying on the phone too. So why are you studying on the phone on top of all that too?
Yeah.
Who studies in addition to all of those things?
And he told her
So-
to put the dogs up and go to bed.
Yeah,
But
but
you're
then she
studying
also
on,
said Sebastian put the dogs up too.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, barefoot leaving the house. Yeah, that's not going to happen, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and play this. Like I said, my screen is hopping back and forth. So 1 second. Let me get back to. There we go.
This case.
I mean, just like going a bit off topic here, I, as a mother myself, I get it. You have to eat. The fact that they dine out, like it's, and I'm not saying, oh yes, dining out makes you guilty. You have something to do with your son's disappearance because you're at a restaurant. Listen, I'm a reasonable person. I physically do not think I would be able to do that, knowing my child could be out there. And excuse
Yeah.
me if I look like a cartoon, an emotional cartoon, because it irks me to my core that you can sit at a restaurant, have a discussion with your spouse. It irks me that you can leave town. Your child, if they come home and you're not there, I will stay in
That
that
really
house
bothers me.
that my child.
Yeah, I've cried
Yeah.
just watching Sebastian on the Roadhouse video. Like just watching him eat his little food and her
Mhm.
taking pictures of him and him just unaware, and then he looks up like, what are you taking pictures of me for? Like it makes me
Yeah.
cry to see those
Yeah.
things. And so, and I don't know,
And then they
I don't
go
know.
out
That's
of
just how I feel
town.
about it. It's
They go out of town. I
mhm.
mean, I wouldn't leave until my child was found. And if that meant never, then that meant never.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think I'd ever leave that home. And not to say like you'd never go out to eat again, but I don't think I don't think I would. Definitely not that soon, in my
Right.
opinion.
No.
Just how I
Uh-uh.
feel.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know. There's just lots of things that they're saying, like, yeah, it's just out of the ordinary. It's not that people don't expect them to eat. It's just how soon
Right.
it's done, the way it's done. And then when they're questioned about it, it's like they're kind of like they're just agitated. They're pissed off, like right off the bat. It's not anything where they're just trying to explain or get to down to level understanding.
Well, then they go to the motorcycle place and they said that they were handing out flyers and they weren't. They were not handing out flyers. And neither
No.
did they didn't even have his shirt on. If
Yeah.
you were there for Sebastian, why weren't you, if you weren't handing out flyers, why couldn't you have at least had his shirt on,
Yeah.
his missing shirt on? You weren't there for Sebastian. You were there for yourself.
Yeah. I agree. And I think that's most of all they've ever done is be there for themselves. And I think that's what the
Hmm.
problem is. You don't see them in even the years following when they do like a year later interview or 2 years later, they're still not wearing their shirts. You
No,
know, there's
I've
not,
never
I
seen
don't
him
think I've
wear it.
ever seen them. Yeah, I don't think I've ever
No.
seen them wear a shirt.
Mm-mm.
So let me see. I'm just trying to adjust my stage because it's kind of, I don't know if you can see where it's glitching a bit from my side. But I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah.
play the interview where we left off, wherever I'm going to go ahead and reconnect everything from my side. But I just wanted to stop there again, because that is what, she was saying, Lauren Conlon, about how frustrating that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming just a second, y'all. I apologize. It's just my internet's really slow and buffering.
And his teachers loved him.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably been hard for them. I think it would be. I don't think I'd want to teach there anymore
Yeah.
or any of that.
It does feel like
Okay, here we go.
premeditation, doesn't it? Yeah.
Child knows for 30 years, hoping he
I'm sorry. What was that?
No, Appalachian Sky said it almost seems like
comes home.
premeditation.
This is
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Just gonna bring it back up. It's heartbreaking to see the video of him eating at the restaurant with her when she already knows what's going to happen to them. Yep. What's going to happen to him. Sorry. Yep. I agree. It's sickening. definitely sickening.
Yeah, it's just taking a minute, y'all. I don't know what's doing. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, that's good.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like got like I might just close out one of them and see what happens and pull up the other one because it's gonna hold on to your side anyways. So
Yeah. Somebody was
it's like
saying
double.
that the other night was having trouble with their StreamYard. I don't know if it's StreamYard or
Yeah, I think
what.
it's StreamYard this time. I was just I'm gonna close out this one and just come right back in because it's like doubling it, so it's like making it echo. So I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, somebody was having trouble with their StreamYard the other night too.
Okay, let's see.
As much as we pay for it, I mean,
Yeah, it shouldn't be this difficult. That's what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
showing me that I'm on the main screen with you, but it's like
Mhm.
feel like there's an echo back there somewhere. So I'm like, where is that echo coming from?
Yeah. Shares was echoing really bad the other night, and I was on there, and they're like, "Have you got anything open?" I'm like, "Nope." I said, "Because now if somebody sends you a link through Messenger, if you're on your computer, you have to go to Facebook, then to Messenger, and then go to the StreamYard link, and then you have to go back and close out Facebook
Yeah.
because Messenger won't let you go to Messenger just directly to Messenger like it used to. You have to go
Yeah.
through Facebook now. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why
It's
it's
so
doing
dumb.
this this same thing too. It's like I have to go all the way back in, but like I can see it in the background. So it's weird that I
Yeah.
have to like close out the background just to come right
Yeah.
back in. So I'm getting there, y'all. I'm almost there. I'm on the history now. And that's like Pinocchio too. I'm like, we weren't even watching Pinocchio. Like
Right.
I feel like one of the kids must be watching one of my channels in
Yeah.
the back or something.
Oh,
So let's see.
I'd be out every day searching every podcast and news outlet, keeping his name out there.
Here it is.
Right, Ronnie? I would too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Patty Ponytail. How are you?
Hello.
Good to
And then
see
see now I
ya.
see people's more comments. See, something must have been unlinked, right? So yes. Hi, Patty.
Yeah,
How are you?
that's good.
And there's
Going out
Tara.
and
I
coming
do
back
not
in.
hear an echo. Okay, you don't hear an echo.
Good.
Great. Okay. So I think we're kind of somewhat smoothed out again. So let me pull up the screen
Okay.
and then we'll get back to it because it's pretty much left off right where we were. So I do not care. All these things his mother never asked.
Mm-hmm.
Out there.
It isn't even pulled up.
That's
Can you
what
see it?
you're worried about right now? Literally, that's what you're worried about? That's a very strange thing to write a long Facebook post about. Like what irks you about your ex airing dirty laundry. I get it. You don't want that out there, but man.
I'm gonna start it back just a second.
Yeah, why go after your ex
I
when
get it. You
that has nothing
have
to do with your son missing your past? You know?
dine out. Like it's, and I'm not saying, oh yes, dining out makes you guilty. You have something to do with your son's disappearance because you're at a restaurant. Listen, I'm a reasonable person. I physically do not think I would be able to do that, knowing my child could be out there. And excuse me if I look like a cartoon, an emotional cartoon, because it irks me to my core that you can sit at a restaurant, have a discussion with your spouse. It irks me that you can leave town. Your child, if they come home and you're not there, I will stay in that house that my child knows for 30 years, hoping he comes home. This is completely abnormal and it's just unacceptable. And again, I'm not implicating guilt, okay? I'm just implicating the fact that
it's weird.
Do you not care?
Weird.
Do you know what happened to him?
Yeah.
Do you know that he's eating? Do you know that he's not hungry? All of this would allude to the fact that they do, based on their behavior.
Bingo.
And the attacking of Katie with Seth. Oh, I can't believe he would put this information out there. That's what you're worried about right now? Literally, that's what you're worried about? That's a very strange thing to write a long Facebook post about. Like what irks you about your ex airing dirty laundry. I get it. You don't want that out there, but man, write a long paragraph about your son that's missing.
Mm-hmm. Bingo.
Lauren, I'm almost fully convinced that what took place allegedly years ago crept into the language of concern, but was part of the reason that there was what I believe to be great contention between stepfather and Sebastian. I think that someone asked a really simple question in one of the interviews, and there's too many interviews for me to keep track of, but one of them,
Same here.
someone said, "Hey, when did you first get with Katie?" And he was offended, and he didn't want to answer it.
Because they
And so
cheated.
he avoided giving
Yeah.
any dating, but he said, "I've been
That's why.
in
They cheated.
Sebastian."
And
Yeah.
so that's another thing too. So that, I mean, to me right there, it speaks a lot to their character right out the gate, how the relationship started, things like that. But I do think that's weird too. Like I was saying, how they don't even realize that their behavior is what makes things look worse. Like, because just say that you did meet that way, like then explain that or something. You know what I mean? If you feel you need to,
Yeah.
but to get upset right away, you know, I mean, that doesn't really
Well,
help much.
It's probably because they were both active duty, and you can't do that when you're active duty. You can get
Right.
kicked out of
Right.
the service for that. So,
Right. And that's why they
and it
made all
was,
those stories on Seth, I
Mhm.
think, about the stuff that he was doing. And I think that stuff that Pridefoot was doing to
yeah,
Sebastian about, you know, some of
Yeah.
the claims that Katie was making allegedly
mhm.
to them that Seth was supposedly doing to Sebastian whenever they first met around that time when Sebastian was younger. I think it was the opposite. I think it was Chris doing those things.
Because I don't know if he was married, but she was.
She was, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yep,
And I think that's kind of why they said that even when they made comments about like Seth supposedly not getting over it. I think that's why they make that low blow comment, is because
right,
it's really easy to say like, oh, well, you're just jealous, right? Like, I
right.
don't think anybody's jealous. And that's the problem. Nobody was ever jealous of you too. And
No,
that's kind of how those kind of relationships come about in the first place. But yeah,
yeah,
like I think that had a lot to do with that too. You know, it's they want to make it sound like Seth is jealous of the two of them because they cheated. So they have to tell themselves that to like keep soothing their behavior with the cheating too.
yeah.
That's kinda how I feel about
I don't think he was devastated for her to go in the
Right.
end.
No. And that's what Seth said, you know, in one of videos, and he just said the Katie that he sees now is not the Katie he married. Or doesn't
Right,
sound
and
like the Katie he married, doesn't seem like the Katie he married. And I would definitely
yeah,
I definitely believe that that's very
I
much
did too,
true.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't
like
think she's
Kara's
the
saying.
same. I don't think she started out that way with her son. And I've said that to
No.
you before a while ago. I don't think that her relationship with Sebastian started out like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't
Sadly.
want to believe it did. Yeah, either. That's why I
Mhm.
will usually talk to you about that. Like, I never want to believe that she didn't care or love Sebastian in the very beginning, but I
Yeah,
do think I didn't realize how much she was gone and things like
right.
that. So how much that probably made it hard, I would guess. I would guess for her
Yeah,
to bond. I don't know. I feel like
yeah,
I would still, for me as an individual, but
yeah.
we're looking at her and stuff like that. So I think that that probably was a big
And with
factor
her
that didn't help
past
her.
too, I can see how she turned that way.
Yeah, it didn't seem like she had that
Between
much at home.
Yeah, between her past home life and Chris, I can see how she turned into what she did. Not that that makes
Mhm.
it right in any kind of way, but
Yeah. Yeah, some of that.
yeah.
Okay.
His life for more than half of his life. That was his answer. And I thought to myself, why is that so sensitive to him? Why, you know, his 15, and I'm going to go back to when he was a younger boy
Mhm.
in the big context of while he's missing. So
Yeah.
I know this date here is important to this guy while Sebastian is missing. And so when I was first told about that, I believed it. It was reliably reported, and it came as, if it did indeed come, but if it did, it came as a matter of neglect when he was left alone and
Yeah.
molested. And I can see someone who absolutely has some real mental health issues right out front. He's married 5 times. He gives out
There,
marital advice.
there you go.
Um,
Yeah.
him
And I
ridiculing
sorry.
Sebastian's
And he thinks
masculinity.
it's like qualifying. He doesn't
I
see the
do
flaw in
believe
it.
that he, from what Nina Gomez said, his ex, I believe there was allegations that he did get with Katie while he was still married to Nina. But again,
Okay, there
like
you go.
you just said, a child is missing. A child is in distress here. Who gives a crap about your reputation right now? And that is
Right.
all Chris Proudfoot seems to be concerned
Narcissistic
with, is his
psychopaths
reputation
too.
and keeping
Well,
his
you've been married
Sociopaths
5 times.
too.
What kind of a reputation do you think you have?
To the
Not much of one left, and that's it. He's fighting for the little bit of reputation he has left in his mind.
Right.
And that his mama again told him that he had. So that's what
Yeah.
it always goes back to. You know, it's fighting. He's fighting for that little bit of air
Yeah.
that he thinks he has left. You
Mhm.
know, which ain't much. And that's what's sad. Like a kid, like he feel. You know, in reality, he feels like Sebastian threatened that kind
Yeah.
of for him. What little like
Mhm.
life or you know reputation he had left. So again, this is
Mhm.
why I think a lot of that happened. So it's just so sad. You know,
And I
because he
think
didn't have a reputation.
I think Sebastian was taller than him too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If
And I
not
think
taller,
Sebastian
he was getting taller.
yeah,
He was
and
gonna
just
be
well
taller.
spoken. I think he was
Yeah.
very well spoken, and I think he
Yeah.
could make you laugh. And I think everybody enjoyed being around him. Where it's very
Yep.
much the opposite with Chris Proudfoot. I think Chris Proudfoot comes in the room and people like look down and like look the opposite direction, or all of a sudden
Mhm.
like their mama's calling and they have to go. You know,
Right.
oh shit, my mom's
Right.
calling. I gotta go.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I
Mhm.
ain't talked to her in 10 years, but I gotta go. You know,
Right.
so like that's the kind of like vibe I get with that. But
Yeah. Yep.
yes. And hi, Kylie. Again, I'm trying to pull up comments as I can. My comment side isn't working that great, so I apologize if I can't pull up certain comments. But as y'all come in, I just want to say hello to y'all too. That
So I
way,
can't see your side.
yeah. I don't know why it's not working this time. It's something that has to do with whatever's glitching because it's
Yeah.
working a bit better now, but not as well as it was working last time. The
I
comment
can
section.
see my side. Usually I can see both sides, but I can't see your
Yeah.
side at all. So I don't know who's over there.
Yeah, it's like I can see your side, but not my side, interestingly enough, which usually it's the opposite. So I'm not sure how
Yeah.
it's playing that out this time. But
Yeah.
hi, Kylie. And yes, Tara, he thinks very highly of himself.
He
And little Miss
does.
Sharon.
Hi,
I keep-
Tara.
Yes. And little Miss Sharon's,
Oh, hi, little Miss Sharon.
I keep thinking with CP, bullying, cruel behavior, and CP's abusive past. Or KP's abusive past is all catastrophic for Sebastian. Yeah, and I think KP was very neglectful in the sense that she just always turned a blind eye to anything that was happening if she
Yeah.
wasn't in on it. So I
Right.
think that like, and I didn't see the videos of Sebastian at like a family event, but I heard that he was, and I think you had told me, Tammy, that he was supposed to be at like it looked like a birthday party of another child, maybe that could have been related to CP side of the family, but he was basically just getting dismissed in this video, kind of like
Yeah,
he was
he
just
was.
trying to be a part of it. And again, I don't
Yeah.
even want to see it because I know it's just going to make me cry. But again,
It will.
I don't see how a mom can stand there and watch her own child and listen to her own child just be dismissed like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think she was very guilty of neglect and making him just feel
They were at
alone.
Chuck E. Cheese's, I think.
Yeah, and it's just so sad.
Yeah.
It's just so sad because you would want him to feel included and a part of everything. And what's wrong with the kid giving his opinion and just
Right.
trying to engage and stuff like that? And then you think about now that he's gone, he's missing, you know,
Yeah.
and it just breaks your heart even more that the little bit he was trying to engage, he wasn't even allowed.
And the
So,
CPS report, I had thought about this too, and I was meant to mention it. The CPS report that we had heard that one was on Katie.
yeah.
Well, and that could have been, I was thinking for a couple of reasons. One, because she, like you said, she's allowing it to happen and doing nothing about it.
Mhm.
You know, she's putting him in that environment and not protecting him. And the other is she allowed him to be around her mom.
Right.
And Seth is the one that called on that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. And why want him around it, especially because you know that she
Yeah.
had to have her own experience that I'm sure was not pleasant.
well, you know, her mom is on probation for life
Yeah.
for
I mean, isn't that for CA like SA?
yes, yes,
Of a child,
Yes.
essay of a child. So this,
Yes.
and that's what I think is too, like if Chris, you know, if Chris Proudfoot was mocking him in any way of what happened to Sebastian, like your mother-in-law is literally
mm-hmm.
a predator, like on the list
yeah.
of predators. You know what I mean? And again, like, you know, I
Yeah.
know that, you know, we're supposed to say certain words, but it is what it is. She is a predator. That's what she's on the list for.
Yeah.
So, and on there for a very, very long time. So
Till
I
she
don't know.
died. I mean, how it must have been bad to put somebody on 99-year probation.
Yeah. So
I
I don't know.
mean,
It's just they're surrounding themselves with that, but then using that against Sebastian to mock him or make fun of him or do something. But it's a situation they put him in.
yeah.
So
No, they didn't say he would be scared. They said that he would he was verbal and he would talk to you if you approached him, but they never said he would be scared. Did they say he would be scared?
I think they made it sound like in a way like you should almost be nervous of him. I
Yeah.
think is how they tried to make it sound, but I think it was like they didn't want you like approaching him, which always did kind of make you wonder, like,
Mhm.
could he have been somewhere? The fact that they put that out there to not approach him.
Mhm.
So yeah, but yeah, 99 years of probation. That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Cuz
and
it
very serious charges.
they made it seem like he had social he didn't know how to act socially. They said that. They said he has social
Yeah.
problems private personal space between him and somebody else. He doesn't know how to do that. He
Yeah.
gets too close into people's faces, what they said.
And I still feel like Chris was kind of talking about himself when he said that. I do, because when Chris was just explaining it, he was talking about like this hyperactive, like get in your face and yell at you kind of thing, and
Yeah,
like
I
get
don't
like
think
and like this nervous, like kind of like dog kind of like energy. But I think he was
yeah.
talking about himself. I think Chris Profit was talking about his own energy, and that's very much. I think Sebastian would kind of tell Chris like to back off.
Yeah,
In
I
my
don't
opinion, I think
see him
yeah.
getting I don't see Sebastian doing that. Maybe getting
Well,
too close to you, maybe, but I don't see him getting in your face like Chris would.
Well, and again, like you just say, even if he does is excited to see somebody and says, "Oh,
Yeah,
how are
yeah.
you?" Yeah, I mean that's not abnormal either. So I
Yeah.
mean, but like the way Chris describes it,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
sounds more like an
Mhm.
exaggerated story. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So
An aggressive one, not
yeah,
just
he's like
excited.
right, always trying to make it sound aggressive
Yeah.
and not just a kid being a kid to be excited to
Right.
see somebody other than his
Mhm.
sorry ass. Because
Right.
all he ever deals with is the two of them making him feel bad. So he's finally excited to
Yeah.
see a person with like an average, like behavior and emotional capacity. And so he's excited to see that. And all of a sudden he's the one with the issue. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like, okay. So again, you're
Yeah.
saying a lot more about the two of you than what you're saying about Sebastian.
Right.
But okay, so let's go ahead and go into a little
Point about the
further.
language matches.
Hmm.
It's his priority. You can simply count the number of words he dedicates to himself
Mhm.
versus the number of words he dedicates to Sebastian. You
Bingo.
can, yeah, you can also compare the number of words that he uses to denigrate or subtly blame Sebastian.
Mhm.
So beneath this whole thing, there's some very serious guilt, and they share in it. Some people believe they killed him, and this is where I'm going with this. So they committed to he went out the door, and it could be a subtle way of blaming, or they could actually know that being true, and if so, it's producing in them distancing language and signals of withholding information that is critical to the case. That means I'm making an effort to keep back about it. And so everyone's kind of asking, well, if he went out the door, A, how do you know that? How do you come to such a conclusion so quickly? And they weren't budging from that.
No.
And then you say, what caused him to go out that door? And the more they have spoken, and as I'm trying to understand the intensity of the guilt in the language, the more I think he was put out against his will as a form of punishment, which, with the intensity of the stepfather's language, that was on that phone call.
I'm in agreement with you, especially because I feel like there's a time, or there are times when somebody tells 60% of the truth just to get their story straight. And Katie did say, "Oh, well, I heard a bang from his room around 10 p.m. or so. And I shouted to him, you better be in bed, buddy, or whatever. Well, that kind of indicated to me something was going on there. You feel the need to
Yes.
say that just to get it out there and be halfway truthful. I
Yeah.
believe you went into that room. You caught him doing something while you're on the phone with Chris. And Chris says, that's it. That's it. That's, whatever. And she does this. Maybe let's say she does allegedly put him outside. She stays on the phone with Chris. Maybe Sebastian's banging on the door. Maybe he's crying and she's saying, what do I do? And he's saying, keep him out there. Keep him out there. And then an hour goes by. She's still on the phone with him. He's still out there. And Chris says, okay, just go to bed. He'll learn a lesson. He'll sleep in the garage. He'll sleep outside. That'll teach him.
And you're correctly identifying that it came into his language or came into her language while Sebastian is missing. And there's more keys that follow, but I'm in agreement with that as well. This lengthy phone call showed a need. And by the way, if I could just speculate on the 10 p.m. noise, I think there was a noise, and I think it was an altercation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Me too.
Goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
You mean with Sebastian by himself, or do you think somebody else was in there?
Oh, yeah.
His mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
think there
people
was an
feel like
altercation.
it was
But-
Katie with
Yeah.
the altercation, and then there's others that, and I know that you're one more that feels like it was more Chris,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mhm.
I'm just curious I'm just gonna take my camera off for a second when we talk about it. And then I see, and also I'm going through comments again between what's popping up on my screen and then what's coming over here too. So I'll
Mhm.
go between that. But I'm curious, what makes you sway more towards it was maybe him already possibly being there versus it could have possibly been her just on the phone with him and something happened, and then that's kind of like what they're saying, he was put out or something else happened like with her.
Well, I just really feel like he wasn't supposed to be there. Like CPS had removed him
Mm-hmm.
or had asked him to leave for a certain amount of time. I don't know how that works. I just feel like, just from his reading I done, that he was asked to leave.
Right.
That's why he said the first time he had been home he come home was the day after Sebastian went missing, or the day of Sebastian went missing. And he said the way he talked, he hadn't been home until then. So I kind of feel like that's kind of went in what I felt like was that he wasn't supposed to be there. He came home that weekend. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was in the house when they got back. And I feel like Sebastian was like learning. He had been talking to teachers because I feel like he had been telling them things that was going on. And I feel like he was learning how to get, who to go to and how to get help. And he was figuring things out. And I think he was just tired of it. And I think he just kind of confronted him and told his mom, he's not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to let him be here. And I think it went into an altercation from there because Mr. Chris wasn't supposed to be there, and he was.
Yeah.
I think that he hit his head in the
Yeah.
altercation. That's how I feel about it. I
Yeah.
don't feel like Katie removed him from the home after that point. That's where me and you totally agree, is that she doesn't know where he is, because I think
Right. She didn't go that far.
right.
Yeah, she let them take
Right.
him, but she didn't go with them to see where they actually put him at first. I think she knows where he is now. And that's what the pictures that Michelle had shared with us. And I think I'd shared him with you. I don't know if I'd shared him with you. And she was in chat earlier about some where it looked like they had him kind of on a board and had moved him. Oh, sorry, moved the microphone. But we're like moving him from one side to the other with like a kind of board with like wheels. And that kind of looked like I could actually see that in the
Yeah.
pictures that Michelle had put together. And before I was trying to see it in more of like just the car form and like, because they kept saying it was in the common area, quote unquote common area kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to see it. But once she had kind of enhanced those, it was really good to be able to see it with the wheels and how they would have possibly had to have moved. And you wouldn't have had the dogs probably be
Right.
able to
Right.
transfer or smell some of that.
Mhm.
So let me see. I'm just going through chat. If there's any comments in chat that you see on your side, let me know. I'm going through this side. But yeah, I do agree with Kylie. I feel like they stifled him at every opportunity,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
When
very
kids are
sad.
completely silent, that's a bad sign. Yeah.
Yeah, especially that quiet, that controlled,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. Right.
And
I
Sebastian,
agree, Running Gray Wolf. I agree. I don't think he was, he didn't, okay. I don't think he walked outside. I think he
right,
was carried, removed from his home. I don't think he physically walked outside.
right,
That's
right.
why they don't have his shoes.
Yeah. And
That's one part of the equation they forgot, I feel like,
then
because
probably
they
like the
carried him
panic part
out.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Tara said, did Sebastian know that he was about to live with his dad? I'm pretty sure that he probably did know
Yeah.
that they were discussing that because they were
Mm-hmm.
discussing it a couple different other
Yeah.
alternatives too, I think
Yeah.
before that even. So
Well,
yeah,
Seth
I do
was
think
in the
Sebastian,
process of getting the school to enroll him in the program because I think when Seth had originally asked, if I'm not mistaken, the class was full.
mm-hmm.
So he was getting him enrolled for the next year.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Sebastian knew.
Yeah, I would think at that point because it almost sounded like it was only a couple months away.
Yeah.
Like I thought they had said like Mayish or something, but I see where Kylie and then Lil Miss Shannon are kind of talking about, possibly, being able to find out from Seth when they see him in chats because I know they see him in chat
Yeah.
sometimes.
Good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hopefully they can kind of find that out. But I would kind of think he might have had an idea.
Yeah.
So.
I would
And
think.
then,
Yeah.
and then I know Kylie said she did some spirit box sessions for Sebastian too, and he kept saying, "Let me see." She said she uploaded a few yesterday, where he says he's in the house, in the loft, in a wall. So he says it over and over.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was interesting too, because they brought up and made the comments about having dogs kind of like smell kind of into the walls areas and
Mm-hmm.
sniff, but nothing was there. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think that's interesting if that's a
Mm-hmm.
theory because they brought that up also themselves. Kind of like
Mm-hmm.
how they brought up what they thought the flashlights were, but they didn't want you to pay attention to the flashlights.
Right.
So, again, you always kind of pay attention to the things they mention, I guess. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just kind of going through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here we go. Plausible denied. There we go. And then
Mm-hmm.
let's see. Also said he would wake him up. Are you talking about Chris would wake him up nearly every night? Yeah. So maybe check out Kylie's channel too for some of the spirit box sessions she's uploaded if y'all are
Okay.
interested to see what those say.
Yeah.
So if one of the mods can drop Kylie's link in the description, or I say description, but chat. If anybody can, that'd be great. If not, I can always upload it too towards the end
Yeah.
of the live.
Let me know if you can't drop it. I can go get it and drop it also.
Yeah, let me see. And go to like channel. Yeah, here we go. So I think I'm almost through the comments.
And I've always felt, and another reason, and this was after my reading that I had done. Chris made the comment that, of course, his truck pings when he goes in the neighborhood because he is the only one that knows the password to his Wi-Fi of his truck, and nobody can get in it but him. Okay, well, if your truck pinged in that area at that time and you're the only one that knows the password, that means you were driving it.
Yeah.
Or in it.
Yeah, and then he makes a point to what time it connects. But like he's very much telling you he was there around those certain times, but he wants to make sure he gets the time frame right.
Right.
And then Lil Miss Sharon said too, yeah, he says he saw Sebastian the 26th. So
yeah.
He says it himself, and then he goes back and fixes like the time frame of when he saw him and how it happened.
Yeah. And
he shouldn't have been there. So
and the 3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep is odd. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you travel. I don't care if you do it once a month. That is odd.
Yeah.
That's odd.
And again, the McCann say it. So
Yeah.
you're looking at like an overall statement of like the situation of where something like that would be said. And the McCann say it about, going from the restaurant to where they left Madeline in the room.
Yeah, so many feet. What'd she say? I can't remember how many feet she said.
It was like 50 yards. It was like 50 yards from the restaurant.
Yeah.
Restaurant to, and then she like like about it at the end. You know,
Yeah.
she kind of like smirks about it and like
Yeah.
laughs it off. And it's the same thing
Mhm.
that he does
Mhm.
and she does.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's go ahead and play this part. I don't think we'll get through this whole interview tonight because they've actually done a pretty long one. This is the longest one I've ever seen him do. This is about 2 hours, but we'll get through
Yeah.
probably about 30 minutes. Try to do 30 minutes of it more,
Okay.
and then but if not, we'll finish the other half of it next. So I'll go ahead
Yeah.
and start that now.
For sure.
When it's hard to describe this, but when a child is sexually abused, there's going to be suffering for the rest of his or her life.
Yep.
And people that are close to and love that victim may also suffer. Now, there's a lot of ways to mitigate some of the suffering, and but it's always a scar there. I hate to sound like pessimistic with it, but it is really traumatic that impacts behavior.
Yeah.
And so he could have had acting out behaviors. I think that might have been in the CES language.
Yes.
And issues of anxiety that caused his need to have a pull-up. And that entered their language.
Mhm.
And in other words, what they're telling us is, look at our suffering, especially stepfather. Look what I have to put up with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unreal. Mhm.
So I think this phone call, which entered the language that they needed to tell, was all about what happened. And that's why I say there is a significant delay in calling police, which was where I wanted to go with this thing anyway.
Right.
But in calling law enforcement,
Mm.
a delay of many hours. So it's
So
scary.
what do you make of the fact now that we're all a bit confused about the dogs picking up a scent, possibly not picking up a scent? I mean, it's very conflicting. And again, as a parent, I would be at the sheriff's office. I would be with the TBI pretty much
Yeah.
every day, taking notes on what is
Yeah.
correct,
They'd have
what
to
is
tell me to
not
go
correct,
home.
what is factual, everything
Right,
here. So we
yeah.
have our story straight. So
Or you're
people
not searching my house
and since
again.
the public seems to have
Right.
such an interest in this, everybody can have the correct facts so they can,
Mhm.
help properly and help efficiently. And that's also been really something that I've been struggling with, where it's like, what is the point of doing all of these random interviews with some of the YouTubers? Sure, they have a big following, but others, they don't. And it's just, I've never seen anything like this circus.
Mhm.
The parents like writing on Facebook, talking back to people. And it's just,
Look at the Wells
the
case.
whole thing is like, it's just
Yeah.
so bizarre. It's so
They
bizarre.
do.
And sorry, I
They
got
went
very
on
off
Facebook.
topic there, but I meant to say, talking about the scent and how scent was not picked up. And then, oh, maybe it was.
I think that not being addressed directly in the press conference tells us that maybe it's something they don't want to share at this point. I think that some investigators will initially say, oh, look how cooperative this guy is, and then hear the interviews go, wow, this is a controlling monster here. What's going on?
Right.
So I don't know for that, and I'm waiting for more information to come out. But I think a lot of people recognize that in the initial interview, the Breaking the Silence interview, everyone saw how controlling stepfather was, how he controlled the information, and you can see it's obsessive in going on different YouTube channels that don't have large audiences.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so you say, well, better late to the party than not at all. At least he's promoting. And he really wasn't promoting. He was promoting himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an apology tour.
That was my whole point. Yeah, it was strange. It was all about him.
Yes, to rehabilitate his image.
Oh,
one thing
hi,
I also
chicken
want to
lady.
touch upon before I just have some thoughts on the
Sweet lady. I haven't seen you in
911 call.
forever, I
And
feel
for
like.
those of you that are not in the United States, that's our emergency line. Is I mentioned the I love you. So
Love you, chicken lady.
Every time Heather and I talk on the phone or at night, we always say, I love you to each other.
I'm so happy she came by. That's
There's
nice.
no need to share that,
Yeah, thank you for coming
except here
by.
by example, but there's no need for me to share that. And picture
You
I
know
go to
about
work
the
and
dog
I say,
thing?
hey, how's everybody doing? Hey, I love my wife. I said, I
What's
love you
up?
last night.
The thing about the dog, it irritates
Mm-hmm.
me, is on Nancy, I think it was Nancy Grace.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting and telling Nancy the dogs didn't hit, and he's saying they are. And I'm like, are you not? Are you listening, Chris? Are you listening?
Yeah.
How can you say they're hitting and they're sitting here telling you they're not hitting? And they're all in there together. And I'm thinking, what? Oh, you're just setting, yep, they hit. And the lady's telling you, no, they did not hit.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
remember that? And that
Yeah.
he's not
Well,
arguing with them, but he is.
yeah. Well, he just wants to say the opposite of what he wants to control everything that he can't control all the time. And that
Because
seems to
Nancy's
be
like, Chris or Mr. Proudfoot, you're saying that the dogs hit down by the pond. And he's like, yes. And she's like, and she asked the other, not Lauren, I think it was the other one.
yeah.
She asked her, and she's like, no, the dogs didn't hit. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't even know what's going on.
right,
So.
yeah. I'm like,
But
you're
he wants
trying,
to convince you that he,
right?
this is what's happening. I know for sure. Don't ask too many questions. Like, this is the information that I've been allowed to give to all of y'all.
And you know,
You know,
he was dying and he's wanting to tell that lady, you don't know what you're talking about. I know he was, but he couldn't dare say it on Nancy Grace, so
yeah.
he had to be quiet.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just interesting because it's like I don't understand why he didn't seem to think that none of these interviews, like, just say like you're not going to trace them all back to each other, but you could. I mean, you can go from one interview and say, look how he behaved on here versus how he behaved on here.
Yeah.
So I don't really know why he never thought that would happen, or if he just didn't care. And like, yeah, like he's trying to gaslight and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff too. But still, I mean, how much can you do something like that before you start to just look like a fool?
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, because you're arguing with what we all know is, and we've heard the dogs did not hit anywhere.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I think like you were saying, he was just trying to like put smoke in the mirrors, just hoping somebody would believe something.
Yeah. It's just,
So
it's wild.
yeah. Okay, let's see. So why do you think he treats Seth the way he does?
Seth's a better person and he knows it.
Yeah.
Oh, did
Yeah.
I say that?
And I think that's part of the reason why, again, we had talked about in the past or live that Sebastian was growing into a well-behaved, well-mannered, individual like Seth. And I
Yeah.
think that that's really what would bother Chris a lot, because
Mhm.
he's not that. So I think it would get under his skin that he was becoming an adult and a well-behaved, individual. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and everybody enjoyed him. But okay. Oops, sorry, wrong page.
Everyone will look at me like kind of strange.
Exactly.
The context, and this is not simply this case, but in cases in general, I love you is often an indication of a very bad relationship. And in some cases, I love you has pointed to the time of death. Now, I'm not saying that's what the case is here. I am saying that the I love you, the inclusion of a missing child case right off the bat, the I love you is telling you this was a bad, contentious relationship, at least between mother and son that night.
Mhm.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Only because you only bring up the last thing you said to somebody if it was not great or people are upset and they say, I'm so upset. We got in a fight and, we went to bed angry, or
Mhm.
I said F you instead. So I totally agree with you. What is the point of sharing that?
Goes without saying. Say, I don't care what you're doing. Go to
We
bed.
have this.
Well,
I
and
mean?
she's
Like,
like,
very
you're not in
common.
trouble. You're not in
Yeah.
trouble.
Child
We
abuse
just
cases.
want you home. Well, why would he be in trouble? Because something
Right.
happened that night that caused
Yeah.
him not to be there.
Well,
and
he
it
was
wasn't
always in
his fault.
trouble. Yeah,
He
and
was always in trouble.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have wanted to come home thinking like, oh shit, I'm always in trouble, so I don't really want to go home and deal with that. But even for her to tell you like, oh, well, the last thing I remember, telling him was like, I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to bed. You know what I mean? It's not even like, are you all right, son? I love you. Like, hope everything, you know what I mean? Like, let me go see if you're okay. But it's just like, she's just even telling you in that moment too. She didn't give a shit enough to even like go in there and look. It was just like, shut, be quiet and go to bed, basically.
Right. Yeah.
So let's see. I would say because he talks. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Chicken Lady.
Yeah.
Because he's got his own channel, and
Yeah.
he gets on there. He does all the, like me and Megan was talking about, he does all the good, says all the good things about it. Because when they ask him, describe your son, he
Yeah.
describes him like a deer running through the forest, just happy and excited,
All the
and
positive things about him. All
yeah,
the
and
things he was growing
yeah,
into being. Not the
yeah,
things that they want you to think that would have been annoying about him. Or most people would be like, oh, well, that sounds annoying, or he sounds annoying. Like, that's the stuff that Chris and Katie are trying to sell you.
yeah. Yeah,
All this
goofy.
annoying
He's
stuff
got a
about him.
goofy laugh or something like.
Mhm.
And then at first they said he has the mind of a 5-year-old. So I think Seth and I don't mean this in a bad way. He glorifies him, and I would be too. That's my child,
Yeah.
But he does totally opposite of what the other two do, and I think
Yeah.
they just. And he don't talk about Katie and Chris. I don't think, does he?
No. No. I've only heard him once say something, and it was because it was a long time ago, and I don't even remember what it
Mhm,
was. But
mhm.
Chris deserved it. I don't remember what it was, but he finally just
Yeah,
told him basically like, quit running your mouth. Like be a grown man and quit running your mouth. That's basically what he told Chris Proudfoot, and that's the truth. You
I
know what I
think
mean?
it
Like,
was when he picked on him for wearing the cowboy hat.
I think it was before that, but it
Oh,
might have
okay,
been. It might have
okay.
been though. It might have
Yeah,
been the same time. If it wasn't though, that would have been another reason for it. That's what I'm saying. There's been
yeah,
plenty of times where Seth could have and would have had plenty of room to say,
yeah.
like shut the f up. I don't want to hear it anymore. And there's times that he just, he doesn't. But I think that
Mm,
is, he has a channel. He goes on there and he advocates for Sebastian in the proper
yeah,
ways, and he doesn't fall into a lot of the drama, and that bothers them because that's all the only thing that they know how to do is
yeah,
fall into that drama. And yeah, I agree. And that's like Kylie saying in the comments too. I think it's cute that Seth will, every now and then play the voicemails of
yeah,
Sebastian, and
yeah.
he still has those. And, they asked him, somebody asked him too, something about having the voicemails. And he's like, well, I never had a reason to delete them. And I just thought that was the
Yeah,
most beautiful, sweetest answer like he could
yeah,
have ever given. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just that simple. I never had a reason to delete them. So why would I,
It'd be
and
so hard to listen to him.
oh, I
Bless him.
know. And the little
Bless.
videos where he's dancing in his Christmas show and
I know.
like all that stuff. So, you want to watch it and it's just so adorable to watch, but it's
It is.
also so heartbreaking to watch. And
Yeah,
it just breaks your heart for him
yeah,
over and over.
yeah,
But
yeah.
okay, so I'm going to start this other part. We'll probably get through about another like maybe 15 minutes if that's good. And then we'll
Yeah,
kind of finish it out if that's okay.
yeah, that's good.
Okay, here we go.
And I've shared this before, but there was a time when I was giving this as a study for attorneys.
Mhm.
And I said, I love you is a signal of a very poor relationship. And everybody's like, yeah, you're crazy. What does that mean? And then I explained why.
Mhm.
I said, you don't have to raise your hand, but probably everyone here present said, I love you to your children before you went to sleep last night. They all nodded their head.
Yeah.
I said, it's the need to raise the issue in certain contexts, including criminal and child protective investigations, that tells you something is very wrong. And that made sense to everyone except one person who objected. And she was very firm and she said, I hear what you're saying, but I do want people to know that I love my child. This is in front of a group of attorneys. And I had known that there had been a child protective report on that particular person just prior, a day or two prior.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
We find it in a lot of cases where a child is removed from the home. So it's a portrayal. In this type of situation with a child missing, there's no need to say it. Of course you love your child, because when the moment that you discovered your child was missing, you ran out and told everyone and everyone's mother, this is what he looks like. This is what his behavior's like. This is what to look for. This is how to approach him. These are the favorite places he likes to go. This is some of the issues he may be having, which didn't happen. They had to do provoked him.
And that kind of
Yeah.
like, and not to like
Exactly.
keep
From the
interrupting
beginning.
it, but it reminds me of Gannon's mom,
Yeah.
like Landon, I believe her name was, but like she
Mhm.
never, even after the stuff Letitia said about Gannon and all the interviews that she did, she never talked about Letitia. She never focused it on Letitia. She never made it. It was just about how much she loved him, how much you would love him if you saw him, how much
Yeah.
fun he was, how much his sister loved him, just all of those things. But you don't get any of that from the Proudfoots.
And
So
she
I just think,
never addressed Teabag
yeah,
until she never addressed her till the trial.
no.
After she was found guilty, that's when she addressed her at the
Yeah.
end.
And even then, it was still very bare minimum. It wasn't
Yeah.
like it had a
Yeah.
lot to do with any of that. She kind of
Yeah.
just said what she needed, like what she felt, was the right thing to say for Gannon.
Right.
But other than that, she didn't talk about her feelings about her too
Right.
much that I noticed,
Yep.
So I just think that's an important thing to always point out too. Is I feel like that's very much kind of along the line Seth tries to keep it. He keeps it all about him and not really, and not his feelings about them. Like I
Right.
said, and then it's always, and that's all you get from them is their feelings about what Sebastian is or who he is or
Mhm.
what he was. It's never
Mhm.
just anything else. So
Mhm.
I just think that's interesting when you're looking at the comparison of how they talk about things
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
And then Gannon's mom. That's the only person that pops into my mind a lot.
Right.
You're right. There was no sense of urgency, no neighbors involved, no nothing that the public is aware of. So you're absolutely right.
And in the same theme of this, in domestic violence cases, domestic homicide cases, it often can pinpoint the time of death in a statement where someone says various forms of bye or see you later, or especially someone that's saying goodbye using a term of endearment. And
Right.
a lot of investigators believe that when someone shot, for example, an estranged wife, it was talk to you later, and literally those words, and then the gunshot. But it can help us pinpoint within a statement.
That's what she
where
said. I
that
love
took
you,
place.
Mom. When he hits the floor.
So
I
that
love you,
can
Mom.
control.
And that's when she wails
Wow.
Subsequent interviews were inflammatory.
about that conversation.
Stepfather began to, the mask came off, at least with the Nancy Grace one, but the gloves, the mask, everything was off in some of these interviews. He was not only combative, but he was enjoying it.
Yes.
He enjoyed the
He
challenge.
enjoys it.
That was the strangest thing. That's what everybody has been speaking about, is like, why does he seem so excited to call people out, to try to prove somebody wrong? It's again, going back, it's only about himself. That is it. And it is really interesting
because
I think he
gotten
does
away with
exhibit
it.
these narcissistic qualities, because
That's why
he
he's
seems
excited.
to think that his lies cannot be called out and people can't prove his
And
lies.
I didn't hear them
which
speak
is
at
why it's so
Pigfest,
strange. And some of the
Kylie. I
things
need
he
to see
says
that.
is so outlandish. I mean, and you can add to that, but that's definitely has to be part of a narcissistic personality disorder.
Yes, he shows very strongly narcissistic. He shows an incredible lack of empathy. Now, sometimes we have a lack of empathy by a guilty parent because the parent's priority is self-preservation, but he never lets that down.
No.
And
he's never embarrassed. He's never embarrassed about his behavior.
He's a young man.
It's shocking.
On his fifth marriage, and I think probably this one's not going to last either. But that combative nature and why it's so important to me, the
says
language of
CP gives her
physicality,
John
the
Wayne
boasting
Gacy
of
vibes.
Oh, it'll last
marital
as
and
long
parental
as
advice
as
by him.
they stay free.
Yeah. And it's
But
really
when-
odd to me. It's odd to me. And that's why I guess I've always been so unnerved about them, because if he can behave this way and they can act this way now, and they know that well, I'm going to say what I think. I feel like the whole world suspects them, in my opinion. What would they do? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what would they do to you if you got in their way? If they could do this to Sebastian because they felt like he got in the way, what would they do to a complete stranger who got in the way? So it just makes you, like, again, how an emotionally, like, unavailable they are and unstable and what they're capable of.
And that's why I think both of them have something to do with it, because if, in my opinion,
Right.
they both have something to do with it, because if it was just her, he would throw her under the bus. I believe
Well,
100% he'd throw her under the bus.
the thing that I still go back and forth about, and I think like the person who sent us the picture that I first saw was what looked like bite marks on his arm.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't get past that. That's the part
Mhm.
where it hangs me up that maybe he was there, possibly,
Mhm.
allegedly,
Mhm.
because it definitely looks like bite marks in that
Mhm.
picture. And he, again, is looking at her in that interview, like, don't say too
Mhm.
much, but I also, this is your fault too. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it's a look on
Right.
his face, like,
That's
this
what
is
I'm
your
saying.
fault too. And I
Yeah.
might have bite marks on my arm, but this is your fault, bitch. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's this equal of like, we're both super guilty kind of
Yeah.
feeling. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they got
So
something on each other. I mean, for me, they got something on each other. They
it would
can both,
just,
one may
yeah.
do more time than the other, but, you know,
Yes. And the
I
bite
still,
marks. I think they're bite
have
marks.
those, I think. I still have those bite marks,
And you
I
know what
think.
else gets me too about that picture that they have brought up on Chronicles of Olivia, and they said it was chocolate milk. Again, at first I kind of just didn't think too much into it, didn't look
Yeah.
super hard at the picture and pause it, but other people had brought up it looks like a bruise. I definitely, in my opinion, feel like that is a bruise on Sebastian's face. And so that's another thing. Say it is. They didn't ask, nobody asked that. Nobody was like, hey, see that picture over there? What's on his face? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they brought that picture over there to show to you.
Yeah.
And then go, oh, well, that's just milk, chocolate milk on his face, by the
Yeah.
way. So they're actively going out of their way to lie to you. Just like he
Yeah.
actively goes out of his way to go on all these interviews and tell you all these things that
Mhm.
didn't happen.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's that kind of thing that bothers me about these two, that they
Yeah.
actively go out of their way to lie to you. So
Yeah.
it's bad enough to lie to begin with, but a whole nother level when they're doing it that way.
Chicken Lady
So,
says, I feel like CP's behavior is due to how he was raised, which I guess
mhm.
we all are, but I definitely understood it more after seeing his mother's behavior. I agree.
I haven't seen much of his mother's behavior, but I feel like I almost don't need to because you can almost just see CP's behavior in what
Marry
I
each
hear
other.
about her.
Yeah. They
You
marry each
know?
other, I think.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine so. I mean,
Yeah.
because isn't that supposed to be a stepdad too that they're with? I'm not saying he wouldn't be nothing like him, but I'm just saying, like, from what I
Yeah. Yeah, that's
see
his
here.
stepdad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from what I mean, I think the mom owns the stepdad's feelings and emotions just as much as she owns everybody else's around that relationship. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, he looks like a
Yeah.
big old wimp too, you know?
But yeah, I agree. It's due to how he was raised. I agree.
A black eye in that pic too. Yeah, he might have a black eye in that picture too. And absolutely, the Ellie's being completely blind to what's going on there. But again, they're being paid to be blind, I feel
Mhm.
like. Or,
Mhm.
again, what do they know that they're doing that? But
Mhm.
yeah, I do feel like in that picture though, where Katie goes out of her way to say he's got chocolate milk on his face, that doesn't look like chocolate milk the more you're looking at it, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I
So
don't, as the way he's talks, they talk about him. I don't think he would like chocolate milk on his face.
no, she said he wouldn't. She said as much as like he didn't like being dirty, but look at this picture. And it was like well into the afternoon, you have to think about too. And I think Sebastian probably was pretty aware of things that were on him in that sense.
That's what I was
And
thinking.
and even if he wasn't, you look at it, it's not the color of chocolate milk the more
Right.
you look at it. It's
Yeah.
like a dirt kind of color, like dirt. It doesn't look like
Like a bruise
chocolate
that
milk
was
dirt.
going away.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
dirt, like that's
Yeah.
like brown or black or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like a bruise, straight up. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I guess it's
Yeah.
the best way you can say it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's
In
no
our
reason for
opinion.
him to have chocolate as clean cut as he looked in that photo and everything else. I can't see now. Like I said, again, in my school, in my son's pictures, I feel like they could have helped, clean them up a little bit more, but it wasn't something as small as like, oh, there's just a dot on his lip. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
numerous things. In this particular situation, like Sebastian's just so clean cut to the T. He looks great. And that just spot on his lip is just completely out of place.
Obvious. Yeah.
The color's out of place. It doesn't look like chocolate
Yeah.
milk.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's obvious they would have saw it before they took the picture. Hey, let's wipe your face here.
yeah. And
I
again, she
would have
brings
thought.
it up on her own. She brings it up.
Yeah.
She wants you to know about it. So most of the
Yeah.
time
She
people tell
pointed
on
out.
themselves. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
pointing it out because she knows
Yeah.
it's a bruise on his face, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So okay, let's go
Mhm.
ahead.
And even to the point of the challenges where he says things like, ask me anything. I'm ready to take anything. And then he ducks it. He won't take anything.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what Sebastian, as a 15-year-old
Had to deal
boy,
with.
lived under.
Yep.
Mm.
That
That's
is not a
heartbreaking.
household to create someone to be confident and be able to survive in the world, and then add on his autism.
Yeah.
Hey, with
The
you, mama.
deck
Hey,
was stacked
Witch
against him
Mama, how are
terribly.
you?
It's I think that's what has also drawn so many people to this case is these sweet pictures of Sebastian. He looks like, I mean, he looks like the sweetest child with his animals and his smile, and then you have his stepfather, and you learn about his past, and you learn about what he has dealt with, and man, it really breaks you, Peter, and it makes me angry almost, because I think Cheryl said it on Nancy the other day. She said they're not looking for a child that's alive anymore. There is no way, with the parents gone, searching Kentucky landfills, and and obviously I could be wrong, right? She could be wrong. I mean, you don't know, but everything is pointing to that here, and I think that unfortunately a lot of people failed this kid. A lot of people failed him.
Oh, I
So
agree.
I think, and namely his mother.
His mother, yeah.
And I don't want
Yeah.
to also add anything onto her pain right now, because I'm sure she is feeling pain. I'm sure
Mm.
she is feeling horrible. But I do think that perhaps she did not always have Sebastian's best interest at heart,
Mm-mm.
especially when it came to his
She
stepfather.
betrayed him, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I agree, and I think that she failed to protect. I think that she
Yep.
had. I mean, this guy comes into her life, and he's married at that point 4 times,
Mhm.
and to subject Sebastian to that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mothers of autistic children are following this case, and they're very angry.
Yeah.
They're very emotional, and they're very angry. I'm looking for a quote, just if I could for a moment.
Yeah, I can share something as well while you find that. A local source did indicate that somebody saw something fairly recently, an incident with Sebastian at a grocery store where Chris allegedly was very forceful and rough with him, so much so that Sebastian hid behind a cash register. So I'm looking into that, and I'm going to be reaching out to that grocery store to see if they have any additional information about that, if they witnessed that.
Wow.
Because that, again, is just one more instance of just pure.
Yeah, I didn't know about
heartbreak.
that one.
I didn't know about that one either.
There was a question that was asked of him
Mm.
on one of the interviews, so I'm looking for now, which is, quote, was chilling.
Mm.
He sometimes answers questions with questions.
Yeah,
She's lying.
That
all
is
the
generally
time.
considered an idea of sensitivity, meaning that I need more time to think before I answer.
Because I'm lying.
Yeah.
Some people will
Yeah.
even go as
Right.
far as making that a habit. And so when a question, if you say, hey, Peter, is there a surprise birthday party for Heather tonight? And I say, oh, there's a surprise birthday for Heather tonight. No, it's obviously sensitive and I want to hide the information. So I
Right,
repeat
right.
it
Yeah.
just to buy a little time to think about it. If you say to me, is there a surprise party for Heather tonight? By me reflecting the language back to you and just getting a little time to think about what kind of good answer I can give to that one, because I don't want to give the information away, I'm going to use the language that you just used. That's very natural. That's normal. If I change that language on a sensitive question, if I change that language, it takes much more effort and there's much more information to be gleaned from that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions he was asked was about acting out behaviors. And I want to show his answer, because if you listen to the answer separate from the question,
I know.
it doesn't sound.
I'd love to hear
terrible.
Peter Hyatt's
Okay.
opinion now
So he was asked
about things that have been said.
if Sebastian had
Mhm.
meltdowns. And so it's easy for me that now I can put myself in his shoes. I'm going to use the word meltdown. Well, sometimes he had meltdowns, but he was okay. And this is what he did. He paused and said,
So what are meltdowns?
was he a violent kid? No.
Yeah.
And there was the past tense reference.
Was he?
Was he a violent
Yes.
kid?
Mm-hmm.
This indicates now a belief that he has that Sebastian isn't coming home.
Yeah.
And I wonder if playing the victim, which he does,
Mm-hmm.
against all odds and the world's against me and that sort of thing,
Yeah. Poors me.
did that help convince mother to leave the home? Which I think that how you described it, I'd be there for 30 years if that's what it took. This is his home. This is what he's familiar with. This is where he'll wander back. Just that hope against hope.
I can't imagine. And they actually positioned it like, well, we're getting death threats. We're getting, Katie's scared. She's getting harassed. It's like, I mean, report it to the police, and then they'll protect you. They'll put.
They're the ones protecting you from all the
outside your
questions
house.
so far.
There are ways
So
around that you don't have to
think
leave your
y'all
house.
be all right.
So that
And
answer
they're your
was
friends,
BS to
so
me.
go ahead.
Yes, and me too.
I don't believe they were getting those.
No.
The only thing I think that could get a mother away is the belief that he's not able to come home. But did he have meltdowns? What this answer reveals is he gives a rhetorical question. Rhetorical questions within analysis, contextually appropriate, are vital in understanding. So when he said, was he a violent kid? No. At that point, I said to myself, 10 p.m., there was violence.
Yeah.
And he was a rather small, vulnerable kid who may have been made, I believe this to be true, I shouldn't even say may, from my opinion, he was made far more vulnerable by the brutish nature and the combative nature of the stepfather, including possibly wetting the bed or incontinence due to anxiety.
That's so interesting. The violent, that word that you were able to pick that out from one interview and put it together with something that possibly happened that night around 10 p.m. or whatever the time frame was. And so essentially what a lot of people have also been asking, that it seems like you believe this, they did in fact make it home from the restaurant. Because a lot of people are like, well,
I think they did.
Did they even make it home? How do we know they made it home? No one seemed to see him except for Katie after that restaurant footage.
I also think that's a fair question to ask. So I don't, my answer to that is not very strong. My answer is, I trust that law enforcement would know that, but I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and Seth obviously Seth Rogers, very tight-lipped about the video footage that he saw. And Seth has been pretty much an open book on most things, except for what law enforcement tells him not to share. And that seems valid, right? Everything Chris is saying, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't give this interview. Okay, whatever. Seth is saying, I can't share what I saw on this video. I believe it. But I'm thinking to myself, what the heck did you see on this video?
I also think it would be very easy for a prosecutor to get stepfather on the stand and set him off.
Yeah.
Let the true nature come flying out with all the colors and all the things. And he is someone, a personality.
Chicken lady, you got to actually communicate with him. Oh,
yeah.
We were just talking about how it would be neat to
know what he's like what he would be thinking. Like Kylie had mentioned, like since the interviews, especially since she came out with that short clip that we saw was the 2-year interview.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see like what his perspective on some of those would be at this point. I wish I could pull up everybody's comments again. I'm so sorry I can't for some reason, but everybody has wonderful comments. Right.
And Peter was talking about how he just don't know if he made it home. He just
Mhm.
doesn't. He believes he did, but he just don't know. For sure. But
Right.
I feel like he made it home, and I
Yeah.
also feel like the trash can video is not him
Yeah, I don't think that's him either.
because I feel like, and maybe I will be able to find this out by talking to somebody else that's way better at this than I am.
Yeah.
But I would have thought had he took the trash out, even if he'd have took the trash out in his slides, as they say,
Right.
the dog would have picked that up
Yeah.
because they said the dog could have picked him up 7 days after he walked away from his house. They would have picked him up, and they would have picked him up anywhere in the neighborhood.
Right.
That's what the I don't know if it was a lady or a man. I can't remember. So for me, I don't think that was him taking out the trash because the dog would have picked that up. I would have thought.
Right. I mean, you would think so. Pretty much with if he went outside like they're claiming. The thing that
Mhm.
always that stood out to me is Seth said, that morning that he went there and they were, basically the Bauer Sox or whatever were sitting there talking about what jewelry that, Proudfoot was supposed to be buying her and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
He had when he had went into Sebastian's room, and this is what makes me think that there was stuff in his room at one point, and maybe I don't know to what extent, but he said he did go into the room, and there was like a pile of clothes, like right in the middle of the floor, almost
right,
like it was just there, like someone
yeah,
had taken his clothes off and like had left it there.
yeah,
So I always thought that was interesting too, that there was a pile of clothes that was
yeah,
sitting in the middle of the floor. It always made me
yeah,
think because that stood out to him for whatever reason.
yeah,
Just like the shoes not being gone did, or the fact that they were sitting around talking about the things they were talking about. So I don't know. I always wondered what clothes were on the floor as far as, because what he was wearing that day, what was in
hmm
pictures, things like that. I always wondered what clothes were on the floor.
And Seth is the one that pointed the shoes out, so that might not have came
Right.
out till later had Seth
Right.
not said he noticed he didn't have any shoes missing.
Right. And that's kind of
Uh,
what I wondered too about the clothes. Would
mhm,
have anything been commented about the clothes
yeah,
if he hadn't have noticed that too? Because that's where I kind of remember him hearing it from, was us saying, yeah, there was a pile of clothes just kind of sitting right in the middle of his room. Like he
yeah,
thought it was odd. Like why would it, and kind of like the sheets to the bed were almost pulled back. So almost like someone pulled him out of the bed, or he
hmm
got out of the bed
hmm
allegedly and kind of had just changed clothes for whatever reason, was just that was it. Like it was almost,
yeah,
so I always thought that was something that
yeah,
caught my attention, I guess
yeah.
is really the best way to say it.
We had some emails about him
So
coming on AD's. Okay, I bet he really dove into the Watts case, didn't he?
what was that now?
Mm-mm. From Armchair Detectives, he
Mm-hmm.
sent some emails to Armchair Detective about the Watts case.
Peter Hyatt did?
Yeah, was that?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I would think that would be interesting to hear him
Interesting.
what he had to
Yeah,
say on that. Yeah,
that would be interesting.
I've known Chicken Lady for a long time.
Yeah. From AD Day.
Yeah, from
We
AD
were just
days.
talking about Armchair Detective the other day too,
Yeah,
because that's where I met you and Tara and Ken. I think Ken was here earlier too.
yeah,
Not sure though.
yeah. We
But
were talking
okay.
about how that's how we met each other.
He did a
Was
video
the
on
Watts
NK.
case and AD's channel.
Oh, Peter Hyatt did a video on NK. Interesting. I
Oh,
wonder.
ooh,
We'll
I
have to
have
go
to go
far
look.
back. As
Yeah,
much as fantastic as Peter Hyatt is, I think he's only like at barely 50,000. So it'd be interesting to see how far back his videos go too. Like how
yeah,
far back can they go and who they
yeah,
all like are on. So
yeah.
okay, let's go ahead and get into. We are 45 minutes in. So
Guys that would demand to take a polygraph and then fail, who would demand that he's going to do this or do that. To rush forward in kind of a bravado that isn't going to match the truth. So
Right.
in the
Right.
interview after interview after interview, he was in control. Now, this is a little bit of rear view mirror analysis, but I don't think anyone's going to say, hey, I disagree with you. He wasn't in control. It's just one of those things that was really really shocking to
Right,
see
right.
how bold and brazen he was with that. And then we get to the original calling of police. So here's that control. We saw it, the need to control on their campaign to remove guilt, suggests guilt itself. The need to control is showing concealing of information, the coordinated language. And I think everyone probably agrees with that. The emergency call should have been to 911
Mm-hmm.
and made by the parent who was
Yeah.
in the
100%.
home when the child went missing. It
100%.
is not best that the call come from someone who is not a parent, who wasn't there, and who's 3 hours away.
Supposedly.
That to me was so mind blowing as a mother. I was shocked at that. Absolutely shocked. I mean, yeah.
How would I keep you off the phone?
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't even think I would call my husband first. I would just call 911 and I would fill my husband in later. I mean, that is also so strange.
Yeah. I'd be like,
Yeah.
tell 911, can
I
you
think
call
he
my
was concerned
husband?
about this being
Mhm.
recorded.
I can't think straight.
Well, of course,
Right.
aren't all calls recorded? 911 calls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know about the call directly to the sheriff's department. Whether
That
that's
was your
recorded. I
No,
don't
that's
know.
not recorded.
Oh,
You
sorry.
knew
Okay.
I don't
that.
think they would
Got
be
it, got
there.
it.
I don't think it would have been
So,
there.
No, I think that's why he made that
person
call.
that is
There,
close has the
Mhm.
in
closest
my opinion.
information, not
Of
secondary
who
or
was in
tertiary,
charge
but
of
right
picking up
there
phones that day for that.
Right.
is the
His
person they
friend,
want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Now, there's an objection.
In my
Some say,
opinion,
well, if he
too.
called 911, it would mean a delay in getting help due to a jurisdiction of coverage to the sheriff's department.
Yep.
As far as my understanding is, a simple press of a button and it goes right there. But-
That's my understanding as well.
Okay, so
That's
let's
why it's
take this though
delayed
and say,
and not
okay,
recorded.
well, if that's really true, then definitely better
Yeah.
to call the sheriff's department. Even though I think it could be at least in his mind, how to A, avoid this being recorded, and B, how to
Thank
control the
you.
information. The answer to this objection
Peter
is
agrees
simple.
with me.
The stepfather should have then
Mhm.
given the mother, here's the number,
Mhm.
call them now.
Right.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is urgent.
Mhm.
And
Good
that
night.
wasn't done either.
Appalachians, guys. Thank
So the
you.
concern is this an attempt to control the information, which is what we
Yes. Good night.
Thank you for coming
in. And yeah, Willem and Sharon was saying it would be interesting to know what CP's school report cards and behaviors were like.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would,
mean,
right?
not-
Like that would have a good.
It'd be interesting to know if he was disciplined in the military. Mhm.
military. That's what I was
Mhm.
thinking too. Like, what happened with
Mhm.
that? Like, how did that go
Mhm.
down? Especially because if they got caught cheating, I mean, don't you just get like dismissed for that? I would
Yes,
think. Like, if
yeah,
you get caught
yes,
doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
yes, yes,
So that would be
yes,
interesting to know how that went down too.
yes. That's adultery.
So
You cannot do that.
no.
Hmm. That's a career ruiner for you.
Yeah. And
And
yeah, I
see,
agree.
Peter even says that he's like, because it won't be recorded.
Right. And that's what we were
And-
saying. That's why I
Yeah.
said I feel like whoever he called, they knew he was gonna call. Everybody
Yeah.
knew to a certain
Mhm.
extent. So just say even if it was an accident, they still could have called somebody and said, "Oh shit, we just been stupid." So we're gonna
Yeah.
be calling you about 6 a.m. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I'm just saying there's so many ways to have like handled it in that
Yeah.
way. Especially
Yeah.
in a small town. We all know, like I'm from a small town, you're from a small town. We all kind of know
Yeah.
how small town things can go.
Yeah.
So,
And it wouldn't have been recorded, and they
Mm-mm.
delayed the process of more hours of not finding him,
right.
and now it's turned into years.
Right. Because he said it, we talked about forever, right? Or
It did.
until the end of
This case
time,
will
or-
be studied forever, or what he say? This case will be studied for years to come, or something like that.
yeah, pretty much like the end of time. Kind
Mhm.
of thing.
If he has his way with it.
Yeah, if he has his way, he can talk about it
Mhm.
to the end of time in jail. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be
So I want to
good.
hear him talk about it to the end of time. Let's see how many interviews he gets in there.
Right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. We'll probably watch about like 10 more minutes of it, and then I'll go
Okay.
ahead and save the rest of it for the next
seen
time.
precisely.
Okay.
Rearview mirror in all the interviews. This is, this is
Good night,
obviously what
Rodney
the
Gray Wolf.
dynamic of
Thank
their
you.
relationship is. He is
Right.
Good
controlling.
night.
And he's got some.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that we're all very interested to know. I mean, I can imagine if you got your hands on this recording, what you would make of
Yeah.
it. Is he going to be overselling the story? Is he going to be over explaining, giving way too much information instead of my kid is missing, please help? So I'm really interested in hearing that whenever it comes out.
If there is one.
And
If it ever,
do share that as well.
if it ever
He shouldn't
comes
have been
up.
on the call.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But he was there.
Right.
That's why he made the call.
Missing child cases, one of the things we look at, say, we called 911.
My
Right
opinion.
when we see we, what do you mean we? Who's we? Did you stand by the phone and pass it back and forth to each other? That sort of thing.
Mhm.
Right.
Some operators, when they get those calls, they say, is the mother there? I can
Right.
check
Just
with
stand next to each other and pass it
her."
back and
Which is
forth.
a
Right.
really good thing
Right.
to do, and then ask them other questions.
He's mocking them.
Right.
It's full of bullshit.
In DV,
Right.
imagine
Yeah.
taking a DV call, the domestic violence call, from the boyfriend.
With the abuser,
Yeah, right.
with the
Imagine their
abuser.
trial.
Yeah.
Could
I
you
mean,
imagine? That'd be
it's
something interesting to
cannot.
watch.
so confusing. And it's funny that we are just now speaking about this because I didn't really think of it I guess at first. Like, why did he call? Why did she not call?
was
And
there.
now that we're talking about it, I'm very disturbed.
Let me take that screen off. See how it goes. There we go. And see if do you have time to take some questions, Lauren?
Let me just get my child, and then yes, I do.
Sounds like me. Let me just go put my child away. I'll be right back.
At this point, I'll try to read them from the comments. I learned the great trick of having to put it up on the screen. I hope that's helpful. Also, disagreements are welcome. They're good to debate back and forth and try to understand what happened. I mentioned a previous video that I've learned over a lot of years that where the language and the details of the case don't match, that I've stayed with the language. And then when the details come out, it's like, oh, that does make sense now. That's why they said such and such. That's why that was sensitive. And sometimes it's innocuous. When I was speaking once to a group of people, and I said, when someone repeats a question back to you, it means the question is sensitive. And someone objected, said, well, I'm hard of hearing, so I repeat back all the questions. And I said, that's what makes the question sensitive to you. The struggle with hearing. But
And
it is sensitive.
I'll also say, like, as a talking head sometimes on a media outlet, I don't know what they're going to ask me. And so I will sometimes, because I don't know the answer off the top of my head, I have to think about it. So I will sort of repeat it and I'll kind of dance around it, but it's purposeful. It's literally because I don't know what I'm going to say yet, which could indicate that that's Chris Proudfoot. He doesn't know what he's going to say yet.
Well, what I've found is that sometimes I get lost in concentration on something, so it looks like I'm zoning out. Either that or I'm just getting very old. And it makes me look really smart.
Where you're like squinting and you're like, yeah, no. Well, luckily you are smart. You're very smart. So you've got that going for you.
Heather's given the odds against that one.
So I don't know if you saw Mac. She said there are numerous cases where the quote unquote killer did not call 911. Sure. Absolutely. I mean, I think this goes back to part of Chris Proudfoot's control. He needs to be in control at all times. He needs to control the narrative, and the sheriff's call is no different.
That's what I think took place.
Yeah.
And even if it was a jurisdiction issue, she should have been calling. I need to hear from her. She was there.
Right. I agree.
Not from
Just
someone
out of pure
else, and not
panic,
from
too.
someone else's relative or anything like that.
But he was there
If there's
too,
any questions or anything like
in my
that,
opinion.
Yeah.
here's one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess
Since
we'll kind of
managing the narrative is
stop it here, just because
Okay.
we're going to go into before they start a bunch of questions and stuff.
And, yeah.
So yeah, so I mean let me see how much is left of this too. So we're 53 minutes and there's 147, so about an hour of it left or something. So
Yeah.
we'll do that kind of
Okay.
next time. But
Right.
yeah, so I just thought this would be a good one. I like her perspective. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna remove the back screen so that way it's not. But I like her perspective. I feel like she got to say a lot of stuff on here that she probably so much didn't get to say on Nancy Grace,
Right.
because on there I do feel like you were saying that there was a lot more stuff that I feel like I expected Nancy to go down that route. She didn't really go down that route, but I feel like
Yep.
here you could tell she was like the floodgates kind of opened with her. Like she felt like you could tell Peter was a safe place for her to be
Right.
able to give her opinion and what she really thought
Mhm.
happened.
Mhm.
So I like the flow of them. So that's why I think it'll be
Yeah.
good to kind of finish out when they get to the questionnaire part and stuff. And I think there's maybe one more that she does with him. So we'll see.
Okay.
But was there
Sweet.
anything so far in this that kind of just stood out to you though before we end it for the night that you just kind of wanted to point out that was irritating or just kind of
Well, I mean, 100%, she should have made the 911 call. 911 call. Don't call the direct line to the sheriff's department. Call 911 because
Yeah.
that's recorded. It goes right in the CAD system. They send it
Right.
right out. You have people come right to you.
the quickest.
And I don't know, the other way is not recorded, but why would you call the other way unless you had help on the other end and you didn't want it recorded and you were delaying time? Those are my opinions only.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
why would you call that? I mean, why wouldn't she said she couldn't hardly talk. That's why she let Chris call, but on a three-way. And I'm like,
Yeah. But that's a lot of extra effort to go through to even get to that phone call.
yeah,
I feel like. So, I mean, I feel like,
Yeah.
again, I wouldn't be able to think that far ahead of to call him, to call somebody else. I would want to call myself. So
right. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just very odd that, that she does do that. And then she
And
doesn't, again, seem to see a problem with that story.
if he wasn't there, then he's got to ask her and then she's got to tell him and then he's got to tell the person that he called. So now we're relaying messages because we wasn't there and we don't have all the information, but we're making the call.
Yeah. And I think it just, too, like, shows you, like, the level that they put Sebastian on.
Mhm.
That he wasn't even important enough to call 911 in a moment
Mhm.
like that, that they're telling
Mhm.
you it was just the sheriff's office was good enough. And that's, again, just heartbreaking for poor Sebastian that, like, in the
Mhm.
situation that you would hope that your parents would call
Yeah.
911 and want to look for you the best they can. They still didn't even
Yeah.
do it then either,
No.
So, again, it just keeps kind of showing their guilt. And I think that's what Peter Hyatt
Yeah.
and, she's are reiterating during this whole kind of
Yeah.
exchange that they're having.
Yeah.
So,
Ronnie, I think, didn't Seth work for the sheriff's department? I think he works, actually, he's a corrections officer. So I think he works in a jail.
yeah, he's a
But
jailer.
I don't think they're in the same town, are they?
I don't
They're
think
not.
so.
I don't think they're in the same town.
No, he said it took about 30 to 40 minutes, I think, for
Yeah.
him to get there.
And they did call him, but after the fact.
Yeah.
I think he said, what, 6:30 they called him or something like that? Or
He got off, I think he said around 7, so that's when he knows it. But yeah, like 6:30,
Yeah.
6:40 or something is
Yeah.
about the time that he got
Yeah.
the phone call
Yeah.
from them. So he works in
Seth worked in Nashville. Okay. I didn't think it was in the same town that
Mm-mm.
Katie lived in. I
No.
thought it was different. So yeah, I knew he didn't work. So technically, I don't think he works for the sheriff's department because I know sometimes you can work for the county.
Yeah.
Here it would be parish, but you can work for the county and not the sheriff's department. So
Right. I just think what stood out to me too is as soon as when he said he got to their house, one of the first things that she did was shove that phone in his face, and it was
Yeah.
the picture of. And she said, "Well, he was having a great day, or what, And I think
look, see, we had a good day. Yeah,
but it wasn't even that day that he found out later that picture was taken. That she was telling him it was the day before.
day
So
before.
not only,
Yeah,
right. So not only the picture that she shoves right into his face before he could even find out what's going on, before he can focus and even look clearly at what's going on, who's there, ask a question. She's already shoving a picture of Sebastian in his face, going, "Look, he was happy though. He was fine. He was fine." But
it was
and
having a
then
good day.
he was having a good day, the best day ever again, before he goes missing. But then he finds out that wasn't even that day.
Yeah.
So she lied about that day too.
Versus
So-
you're saying, oh look, he was having a good day. Versus what?
Versus what? Yeah. Versus what else goes on at your house.
Yeah.
all the other times that this is. And again, I mean, it rips your heart to think that that was the best day ever that he had before he went missing. And which, I mean, I believe, of course, they're selling you a story, but that he went missing and that's the best they could do for him, because it makes you wonder what they knew. Why was that the best day ever?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But okay, well, thank you so much for joining me for the beginning of this interview, and we will go further into it. So, and I will, hopefully have the internet working a little bit better this next time. I think it's just like the internet or the weather around here, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. You never know what's going to affect it. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you too to everyone who joined us for this.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I greatly appreciate it.
Everybody,
and then we will we'll kind of get together again soon. I think that you have one that you want to do pretty soon too about the Watts interviews coming up, right?
Yeah, I have. I want to try to do 2 Saturday. As I laugh about this, one will probably be Saturday and one will probably be Sunday, because you know how it goes for me.
Yeah.
But I want to do we're going to finish out that interview of the back rub.
Yeah.
I think it's almost over. I think we're almost at the end of it. Yes. And then maybe go over the video. I know it's going to kind of be skipping because I wanted to go in order of like the interviews, but I'm kind of excited about the ping video. So I kind of want an
exciting one.
Yeah, so I kind of want to maybe do the first half, the interview, and then maybe go into the ping video or vice versa. I want to kind of include it in the next live.
Okay.
And then the one that the autopsy one for Shanann, I want to include it before we start her stuff. I want to do, before we start her Facebook stuff, I want to do the autopsy video for her. So I think that would be good. So I'm probably going to do
interview.
Yeah, the back rub interview. I'm probably going to do that Saturday, and then Sunday probably go on the Looking Glass and do something on there. So
that sounds great.
Yeah,
and then so I will get with you soon too, so we can finish out this interview too, and then we'll get together soon and kind of put the Watts one together, see how that goes. But I will put it in the community post, and I will also, I've been trying to do the links to the lives like a day before or something, so y'all just keep an eye out for the links for Sebastian's second part of this interview with Peter Hyatt, and then Lauren, I believe her name is, and Conley, and then we'll go ahead and go into the Watts from there.
The hamburger interview. Yes, you're talking about the striped suit.
Yeah. Tamburglar. It's the Tamburglar.
That's
it. About Jim.
That's it. And I mean, between her and the dad, Ronnie, they rub his back about raw.
Yeah.
That's what
got carpet burn on there for sure.
Yeah. Chicken Lady, I said, that's got to be the worst sweater that you could ever wear as a detective, because now are you trying to get him used to stripes or what? I mean,
gotta roll one way or the next, right?
Yeah. I was like, what? Yeah, but that's cute, the Hamburglar. That's what we'll call it then, because Yep, the rubbing is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. It was so long that Kim had to fast forward the rubbing.
That's why I was like, are you doing that? I was like, it was so fast.
No, that's not me. It's Kim. She's fast forwarding the rubbing because it's just like forever, and the clock.
It's like between the clock ticking and the rubbing, like everybody's losing their mind. Since you get halfway to the end, you start getting delusional, making crazy jokes and stuff.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh my God, she quit rubbing his back. I mean, and that's what I was saying. I couldn't do that. I would be the one that goes in. I would be the
finisher.
The closer, man, because I was going like, look, I'm sick of hearing this crap. Let's get it. Come on, give us the truth.
So, get this done.
I wouldn't be the good back rubber. That wouldn't be me.
No, me neither. But all right, well, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it, and thank you, everyone, again.
Thank you for coming in, Chicken Lady. I haven't seen you in forever. It's nice to see you.
And Chicken Lady and Ronnie and Tara, Claudia, Sharon, Kylie, And then everybody too, as y'all come in and out and in and out. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Right.
We're not out of here.
Who was in and out. We appreciate you being in the bushes. If you're in,
Yes,
hey, I'm
thank
a
you.
lurker. A lot of
Yeah.
times I'm in the bushes and channels, they don't even know I'm there.
Yes.
So I
appreciate
give
you
the
always
like,
hanging.
you know.
Yeah, we always appreciate you in the common area.
That's right. Hey, there we go. If you have a flashlight or not, we still appreciate you in the common area.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
appreciate
I won't
it.
deny it you, I promise.
Oh, yes, that's right.
All right.
Right.
All right. Well, Tammy, you have a good rest of the night, and I
You
will
too.
see
Thank
y'all
you,
all
Megan, for
soon.
having me.
Bye. Yes, thank
Lo-
you.
Love y'all.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye.